Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly, game master today. Because we had originally planned on playing another session of our ongoing Night Below campaign. But unfortunately, we were down quite a few players over the last couple of hours. People have had things come up or putting them away. So we didn't have enough of a quorum to take on the 8 toads that we left with our cliffhanger last time. So what we decided to do is I threw out a couple of suggestions to the guys. I heard the guys, being as accommodating as they are, said, I'm not really sure. Well, this sounds good. This sounds fun. Blah, blah. So what we decided on is we're going to play a session of DC Heroes. Wow.
Heroes.
So DC Heroes is a game that was published. We're playing with the second edition. The game was originally published in 1980, I think 7. And then this version is 1989. Actually, I think the first one was 1986. And the reason that's important is because the original DC Adventures, Heroes RPG, published by Mayfair Games, it came out right around the time or after the time that a really significant comic event called Crisis on Infinite Earths came out. And the difficulty there is that that event rewrote some substantial amounts of DC history, down to the point where a lot of the heroes had their powers and backgrounds and whatnot changed. Particularly Superman and Wonder Woman were substantially depowered as a result of it. So what that meant is that first edition reflected a world that was no longer current in the comics. So they very quickly cranked out after, and to be honest, the original edition was a bit of a mess. And over the course of supplements, they added a bunch of other rules to try and tweak the game and whatnot. What second edition is really the first cohesive, accurate kind of take on it. There is a third edition of this game that came out, in the early 90s, and it is very 90s. But it is a single, by which I mean, like, it's just peak, mullets and pockets and stuff like that. It tweaks the rules a little further, but the difference between second edition and third edition are very, very minimal. You can use stuff from third with second and not really get lost. And then afterwards, the system was used for 2 other games. One of them is called Blood of Heroes, which is it's still, I'm not quite clear if it's still actually in print, but it is a further refinement of this particular system. It's also, like, if we thought the third edition was fairly 90s, that one takes it to the nth degree with lots of pouches and giant guns and stuff like that. Anything that would be at home in an Image comic of the mid-90s is at home in Blood of Heroes, but the game mechanic is the same as this. And the second one was a really odd game by Ray Winninger called Underground. That was I'm not going to go into that too much, but it's worth saying that that game shares this as well too. And if you really want an unusual take on superhero role-playing games, definitely try tracking down Underground. It's a really weird one. But tonight we're going to play DC Heroes, and as best I know, none of our players have played DC Heroes before. Is that right, guys? No?
Nope.
Okay. So with me, let's do a quick introduction of who we've got with us tonight. Both me and Dave have dressed for the occasion as well, too. So first up, I have John.
Hey everyone, I'm John. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm a regular here, so hello.
Next up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm also a regular here, and I skimmed through a little bit of the introduction, so I have a tiny bit of an idea of what I'm doing.
Nice. And last but certainly not least is our resident armor smith, Dave.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave. I also don't know what I'm doing. I'm a regular here, but I've seen some DC movies like most of the guys probably. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
One of the things we talked about before, now this has come together all fairly quickly. DC Heroes, this edition, there's a ton of great stuff. Like, this is a collection of DC books for it. But this one has an interesting personal history for me. Well, maybe not interesting. It has a personal history with me, at least, in that it's one of the rare games that I honestly don't know if I've ever run this before. I read the shit out of this game. Like, the thing is, I mean, there's games, obviously, that I haven't run before, but I mean, I've owned this game since I had the first edition, I had the second edition. I think I might have run this maybe twice. So I've never really made an effort of actually running this. So this is, it's been kind of, if you want to count for white whales, this is one of the oldest ones for me. But it's always really intrigued me because there's a couple of things that it does with the mechanics that, Arlen, you will recognize in DC Adventures or Mutants and Masterminds 3rd, because Ray Winninger, who's the designer behind this, he became a major advisor on DC Adventures, which then became Mutants Masterminds 3rd. One of the things you'll recognize as well is, do you remember in DC Adventures and Mutants Masterminds 3rd how there's that like scaling, there's that neat math trick you can do to try and figure out like time and space or speed and distance and shit like that?
Yeah, everything is like a double or a multiple
Exactly.
of everything else. So
That comes from this game. That's from this game. The thing that's really interesting about the game is that it is intended to be able to model appropriately everything from Robin the Boy Wonder all the way up to Kryptonian supervillains, you know? And the game, we'll have to see how you guys feel that the game reflects it, but I think it does a pretty darn good job. And it also makes a substantial use of a mechanic called hero points, which is the game's narrative metacurrency. So we're all very familiar with that. We'll talk about how you use that in the course of play. But what we're going to do is first we're going to select characters. And then once we've got characters, we're going to go through and we're going to learn about the game a little bit, just some fundamentals, and then we're going to jump in and play, and we'll learn as we go. So what we talked about before we went live is about what kind of characters we're going to play tonight, and let me think here. Oh, there we go. There it is. What we're going to play, I thought would be fun, is the Suicide Squad. So the Suicide Squad is, of course, popular because of the film right now. There's a great video game coming out, or, I mean, it looks to be great, but there's a video game coming out featuring the Suicide Squad next year. There's an animated show. They've appeared on Justice League Unlimited as Task Force X, and they've got a new movie coming out next year as well, too, directed by James Gunn. Now, the Suicide Squad that you guys are going to be seeing, or what you can see in there, comes from a run by a writer named John Ostrander. And John Ostrander wrote, I think it's 87 or 86 is when his run started. And the thing that really made his series and his writing stand out from a lot of other people is he was very, very geopolitically savvy in his writings. The Cold War, spies, all that stuff plays a very, very big role. The corruption of governments, he was very much a post-Watergate kind of writer. So the show has a very, or the comic had a very kind of like Dirty Dozen meets like the Osterman Weekend meets the, that kind of like 70s spy stuff. So it was less of a superhero comic and more so of a kind of a gritty espionage comic. And that's where the takes of the characters that you're seeing in the handouts or the book, that's where they come from. The Suicide Squad in general it's called technically Task Force X, and it is a government program that gives superhuman criminals, or at least super criminals, an opportunity to reduce their sentence by going on missions for the U.S. government. And since it is such an 80s concept, we're actually setting our adventure in the 1980s as well, too. The way I've been picturing playing the Suicide Squad in this is really, if you guys have seen Atomic Blonde, the film by, I can't remember David Leitch? I can't remember, one of the directors from, John Wick. It is a hyper-stylized film set in 1989, I believe. It is super 80s. It is very, very Cold War, but it's a cool kind of stylized action version of the Cold War. And that's sort of what this art house action thing, that's what I'm thinking what our game is going to be like. The comic itself is a little bit dated to read now, but I think the concepts behind it hold up really, really well. So the characters that you guys have to choose from tonight are listed on those documents, and I'll just quickly go through and give you a nutshell pitch of what each of these guys are. And this will almost be like the kind of lineup for what you see in the actual film. So first up, we've got Bronze Tiger. And Bronze Tiger looks like this in his costume. Bronze Tiger is one of the most badass martial artists and assassins in the DC universe. His name is Ben Turner, and he was brainwashed by the League of Assassins into becoming an assassin. He has joined the Suicide Squad and serves as the kind of the squad leader, basically as a way of trying to, get his footing and figure out what his place is going to be in the world. He still suffers from some substantial, brainwashing, or not brainwashing, but like amnesia and stuff like that. And yeah, so if you want to play a really badass ninja type dude, Bronze Tiger is the character you're going to want to play. Next up is Deadshot. Deadshot is an old Batman villain who originally was ridiculous. He had a top hat, he had a little domino mask, and he was a sharpshooter, like Wild West stuff. And then this awesome artist named Steve Marshall? Is that it? No, Marshall Rogers redesigned the costume into what you see on the screen here. And he is arguably the very best shot in the entire world. Deadshot also has a death wish. He has guns mounted to his hands. He easily could have killed Batman 6 times over had he wanted to, but the take of the character in the comic is that he's got a mental block where he's just he really wants to see himself punished. So if you want to play a genuinely fucked up character who is incredibly lethal, Deadshot's your character to play. Next up is who we got here. Nemesis. Next up is Nemesis. Nemesis had a twin brother. His name is what is his name? Thomas Tressler. Thomas Tressler had a twin brother who was a secret agent for the U.S. He was betrayed and he was killed. So Thomas took his place as the Nemesis. He makes use of some pretty neat high-tech gear, including like a Mission Impossible style kind of masks and stuff. He is arguably one of, if not the best spy in the entire DC universe. He has a cool kind of concussive gun he uses, and he has a panoply of awesome, spy type skills. If you want to play a character who is the best espionage agent in the world, you definitely want to pick Nemesis. Next up is a terrific creation by Steve Ditko. Is Shade the Changing Man. So Shade, very briefly put, is a police officer from another dimension who uses a special vest that augments his power, gives him like a force field, and he also, the force field manifests as like the deepest fears of the people viewing him. Shade went through a substantial overview or revision in the 80s for a comic called Shade the Changing Man that came out around the time when Vertigo was really launched as an imprint, which is like DC's darker horror kind of stuff. That character is not what this character is. This character is the interdimensional cop with the weird magic vest. He is trapped currently on Earth and cannot get back to, I think it's the Zeta Zone. And he is, if you want to play a character who's a bit weird and a little off, but also thinks that, he comes from a much more advanced, in terms of a technologically advanced civilization than what Earth is on, and he has served as a cop for longer than anyone else. Shade the Changing Man is the character you want to play. Next up is Nightshade. Nightshade is a heroine who, by day, she is poses as the kind of dilettante daughter of a U.S. senator, but she's actually the daughter of a human mortal, and I think it's her mom is actually a princess from another dimension. She has powers over darkness. She can create these gates to travel through, but recently she returned to her homeland, or where her mother came from at least, and found that it was a bit of a fucking nightmare. So she's currently suffering from some trauma of having gone there, and she has difficulty making use of her warp skills because she's scared of what might come through it. if you want to be able to like turn into a living shadow, if you want to cast, darkness around you, if you want to be able to travel through things, Nightshade is absolutely. And also if you want to have a bit of a weird, kind of magical, quasi other dimensional connection other than, Shade the Changing Man, Nightshade is definitely the character you want to play. And the last one we have on offer here, guys, is actually, I don't want you to get too excited here, but this is someone who served in the Justice League of America. This is someone who served alongside such stalwarts as Aquaman and Martian Manhunter, who, for a time was always present on the covers. Now that, of course, is, I'm sure you know her, guys. I'll say her name together. It's Vixen. Now, if you don't know Vixen, it's because Vixen comes from the early 80s version of the Justice League that has become known as the Justice League Detroit. Because at that time, Justice League did not, operate out of a satellite. It operated out of Detroit. It had the only recognizable members of the Justice League were Martian Manhunter and Aquaman. The other characters were second stringers, characters who were introduced in side series or backstories or whatever else, like Vixen, like Steel, like Vibe, the breakdancing Puerto Rican hero. I joke about, obviously this my tone, you can tell I'm joking about it, but to be honest, I fucking loved that series, and I loved that time of Justice League. It was awesome. It was so weird. They had a guy named Dale Gunn who was just like a dude who drove him around for no reason. It was so great. So, and they had other things, like the things they faced during that time. My favorite was, you know who Amazo is? The crazy android who can copy the powers of the Justice League. So, anyway, that's who Amazo is. One of the most interesting, visually interesting characters. That character had his mind replaced by a pissed-off Alaskan miner, and he went after them for claim jumping. So, Justice League Detroit, genius. So, as a result of that, Vixen has not really been, in her civilian identity, she is known as Mari. Oh, I can't remember what her last name is, but Mari is a world-famous supermodel, and she's also the inheritor of something called the Tantu Totem. And what the Tantu Totem allows you to do is to duplicate or mimic the powers of animals. So she can have the strength of an elephant. She can have the speed of a cheetah. She can, soar like a hawk. It's a really cool thing. The way the powers work, you're limited by how much you can assign up to those, but that's her power. She is with the Suicide Squad because she, not quite as, mentally damaged as Bronze Tiger, but she's trying to find her way as well. She's really trying to figure out, what she's going to do. The Justice League, at the time that this is current, the Justice League has reformed, and she has not been invited back. That maybe not be surprising because two of her teammates, Vibe and Steel, were murdered by a Justice League villain named Despero. So she's a little screwed up. Yeah, the totem also potentially causes rage. So that's the very, very nutshell version of who our Suicide Squad is going to be made up of, guys. Do any of those characters really jump out? I can see John's already been talking about Mari.
Oh, no, I was thinking about Shade.
Oh, Shade, okay. So you're thinking about playing Shade? What about Arlen or Dave? Any of these characters really jump out for you?
Arlen?
I was thinking Bronze Tiger or Deadshot.
That's funny because I was thinking the same thing.
Nice! Which of you guys is playing Bronze Tiger? Who's playing Deadshot?
Go ahead, Arlen.
Do you want to roll for it?
So if we're going to roll, then let's get in the spirit of DC Heroes and roll 2d10, because that's what we use for task resolution.
So what are we rolling then? Like,
we're rolling 2d10, and whoever gets higher gets to make the other one pick.
Makes the other one pick? Okay.
Or you can pick if you want, but... Ooh. All right, Dave.
Arlen's picking
first. Make me pick? All right. I will choose Deadshot.
Nice. Okay. And John, you want to play Nightshade?
Yeah, let's go with Shade the Changing Man.
Oh, Nice. That's fantastic. Oh man. All right, so guys, what I told the guys before we went live is I also decided to do some because I've been prepping another plan with this. Which of you guys is playing Deadshot? Is Arlen playing Deadshot? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then you're playing Bronze Tiger. So let me show you who I did my castings as. So if I was going to try and cast this this lot of characters right now, who are Tiger but Dog, totally. Who in sort of we're using modern actors who could be accessible today. Here's some of the ways that I went about this. Now, for Bronze Tiger, Ben Turner, we went with someone who actually played him in the what do you call it? The Arrow TV series. And I can't, the name is escaping me right now, but the actor also played Spawn, and he's in The Dark Knight. He's the guy who gets pissed off about, it's his sidekick who has the pencil disappear.
I love Spawn.
Michael Jai White.
What is it?
Michael White? Michael Jai White?
Yeah, Michael Jai White. Yes, thank you. For Deadshot, now Deadshot in the series, or in the movie, is played by... what do you call it? By
Smith and Idris
Will
Elba,
Smith.
right?
Yeah. And Will Smith is just not like, that's just not how the personality wise. Yeah. So I can't remember the actor's name right now, but you'll know him from Deadwood and from a bunch of other HBO stuff. This was my casting for Deadshot. Floyd Lawton, the ready to ready to die. And I'll show you the panel that I was thinking of too. Here's a panel from or a page at least from Deadshot's actual miniseries that he had while the Suicide Squad was on.
Wasn't Deadshot also in Arrow?
Deadshot was in Arrow, and he was fucking terrible. It was an awful take on Deadshot. To be honest, like the costume looks kind of good in comics. It looks ridiculous in person, so it's a tough character to really pull off. But that's sort of, and again, like Arlen, as you can see in the comic there, like he could have killed any of those cops quite easily. This is part of his crazed death wish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the what do you call it? For Shade, because Shade's got to have like a good sense of humor. And he's got to also be he's not a really big guy, and it needs to have a kind of a, arrogant streak to him. I went with, gosh, and I can't remember, I'm drawing a blank on his name now too, but he was in Blade. Okay, get Anna, get out of there. Jeez. Honey, come here. There you go. Yes, good girl. Sorry, guys, she's right down where all the cords are. She's lost her thing down there. It's God damn it! I had his name and I've lost it again now too. He was most recently in where I remember him from is True Detective, and let's see, here we go. Stephen Dorff. He's not a big guy.
Okay.
Yep.
Did not recognize him with the scruff on his face, but I know who he is.
Yeah. So that's what my castings were for those characters, so that we could get a real world face to some of these guys. Let's talk about filling out the character sheets, though, guys. So let me quickly put your. Okay, so Dave is playing Bronze Tiger.
Wasn't Stephen Dorff also in Blade?
Yes, yeah, he was. It's hilarious. Like, he's such a goofball in Blade, but he's really, really good in season 3 of True Detective. He's grown into his kind of like, smarmy. He's not smarmy so much as arrogant, but it's a really charming kind of arrogance. Now, for Bronze Tiger, do you want the picture of Michael Jai White, or do you want the costume for your avatar?
Michael Jai White makes me feel like I need to eat more salads and do more push-ups. So let's go with the character who's a little more tigerish.
Okay. All right, there you go. So there is your picture. You go ahead and change your name if you like. And then, Arlen, do you want the picture of Deadshot, or do you want the picture of the actor?
I think I'm gonna go because it's one of the few things that I actually liked about the Suicide Squad movie is that they kept his mask on more often than they could have gotten away with Will
Yep.
Smith's all the time. So I'm gonna go with masked up Deadshot with his
Done.
eye thing.
Done and done. There you go. And then, John, you want that Steve Ditko illustration? Steve Ditko, creator of Spider-Man, co-creator, I guess, of Spider-Man. Or do you want
I'm gonna go with this picture.
that one? You got it. Okay.
Be the odd one out of the bunch.
Let's see here. Edit. Okay, so let's talk about. What we'll do is we'll fill in your character sheets as we talk about sort of the mechanics here, guys, because I think that's probably a good way to go about this. There you
Audience
are.
can learn with us.
Yeah, exactly. And then for those listening at home, I have tried to do my homework to make sure I understand how remember how the game works and whatnot too. But if I do screw things up, please forgive me, and also feel free to chime in. So, guys, if we take a look at your character sheet, I'm going to move you over to a different page here. I'll bring your icons with you. Boom. But I'm going to move us over to the chart we'll be using for everything here. Okay, now do I have that in the wrong? No, okay, I do. Boom. All right, so yeah, I got that on the objects later. Okay, so guys, what you're looking at is the action table and the results table. The way that everything works in this game is through two different stages for all task resolution, two different stages that involve four different stats, basically. You're going to have your AV. You'll see AV often referenced, which is your acting value. You'll see your OV, which is your opposing value. And you can see on the first table of the action table there, so there's acting value and opposed value. To figure out what you're doing, you look at your acting value, you see what your opposing value is. You may be involved in column shifts. Column shifts will be either positive or negative, which will shift you one way or the other way. But that is the number that you need to roll on 2d10 to succeed. Then if you do succeed in your task, we then look at how results are generated. The two stats that play into there are the EV, the effect value, and the RV, the resistance value. The reason that it's important knowing those things is because it'll switch depending on what you're doing and depending on what you're using. It'll be different things that'll be supplying the AV, the EV, the whatever. Those of you who are martial artists, it's going to be an important thing to bear in mind because your martial artist skill can be substituted for AV, EV, RV, or OV. And you decide at the start of your round which one you use. So let's take a look at the stats quickly of the characters, just so we understand what the character stats are. So in this game, it's kind of like a grid, and there are three columns of three different stats each. So 3 rows, 3 columns. The top row is your physical attributes. The middle row is your mental attributes, and the bottom row is your mystical attributes. Your first column, Dex, Int, Influence, those are generally your acting value skills, or your acting value attributes. Strength, Will, and Aura are generally your effect value, sometimes your resistance value, depending on whether you're trying to do something on someone or they're trying to, muscle them down or whatnot. And the final one, your body, mind, and spirit, are effectively what is normally used for RV and also doubles as your hit points. So as you take damage, you can take mental damage, spiritual damage, or mystical damage, or physical damage. You guys can go ahead and fill in your stats from your character sheet or from the character entry there onto your character sheets. You'll also notice there is a wealth stat on there. We're going to ignore that because it's not going to come up in play. HPs are those hero points I mentioned as the thing that you're going to be spending, so make sure to fill your hero points in. And init is your initiative. Now, your initiative starts at a total of the first column stats all added together, and then there are modifiers that can bump that up. If you've got something called lightning reflexes, that bumps it up by 2. If you have martial arts, I believe it bumps it up by 2 as well. And if you have the super speed superpower, you add that in as well too. So unsurprisingly, the Flash has a really badass initiative score. Each of your stats is measured in APs, which I believe stands for action points. Attribute points. Yeah, attribute points. APs are how all the math in the game works. So the average AP for stats for human beings is 2. And every increase of 1 is a double of whatever the previous rank is. So if, say, Bronze Tiger's dex of 10 is colossally better than the average person. If your strength, I can see just from what you're filling in here, strength of 4 is much, is 4 times as strong as what a normal person is. And similarly, going across, that's what all your stats are. Make sure you're filling in the current and the maximum, because I'm going to use your tokens. We'll use the red, blue, and yellow bars to track your body, mind, and spirit. So that's what that first sort of bar is for in your... hello, sweetie. Yes, I know. I missed you. Anna loves her superheroes, so, she's just feeling left out, I'm sure. Next thing you guys are going to be doing is taking a look at your skills tab. And you guys each have... Let's see here. Deadshot for sure has a bunch of skills. Bronze Tiger for sure has a bunch of skills. And actually, Shade the Changing Man has them as well. Let me open up my book here so I can look at them. I keep looking back at the PDF, and I realize I've got the damn book in front of me. So why am I not opening that? All right. So let's try and cover all the skills here. And if there is a star next to the skill that's in there, that means it is linked. So be sure to tick that off in your skills tab. It means it's linked to the governing attribute, which means if you're creating characters, it's cheaper to create these things. So, for instance, Bronze Tiger, your acrobatics, your charisma, your martial arts, your military science, and your thief are all keyed to your to governing attributes. So let's see here. What does everyone have? So we'll go try to go alphabetically here. What acrobatics is used for is obviously to do kind of nifty acrobatic tricks and shit like that, to do jumps and blah blah blah. But one of the specific combat applications is if you decide on your turn to use your dice action. Every turn, what you have is 3 actions. You get 1 dice action, so something that requires you to roll dice, and 2 non-dice actions. So an example might be, I'm going to fly, I'm going to look around, and I'm going to blast someone if I see someone there. Well, blasting someone is a dice action. Looking around and flying, those aren't dice actions. The dice action, searching, if someone's trying to hide from you, then that might require a dice action. But if your non-dice action doesn't see the person, then that's it. What acrobatics can do instead, normally, if you decide to dodge, you go on the defensive, you just add 1 column shift to your opposing value. If, on the other hand, you decide you have acrobatics and you decide to dodge, you add the full value to your defense. So,
say an acrobatics of 10 and a column shift is a +5. Does that move it twice?
No, it's not +5. It's just you add it flat in. The APs can sometimes be confusing. Sometimes you're adding them flat, like you're adding the numbers in automatically, and sometimes because they are, the lower value is half of what the next value up is, that sometimes it only bumps it up by 1. Acrobatics is one of those exceptions where it adds it directly to it. So let me just go to display everything here. There we go. So on Bronze Tiger, for instance, you got a dex of 10. Absent anything else, if I'm trying to shoot you, I got my super death ray thing, I'm going to shoot you, I'm opposing your dex. If you went, if you decided to dodge for your round, instead of a dex of 10, I'd be rolling against a dex of 20. And you can take a look on the action chart to see how much of a difference. Like, let's say it's the average cop who's trained enough to have a 3 in, in their attributes. A 3 against a 10, I need to roll an 18 or higher to hit you. That's pretty hard. But if you dodged, I'd need to roll a 32.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Because you're adding the dex and the acrobatic skill together.
Precisely. Yep. Absolutely. So that's what acrobatics can be used for in combat. That's really the really neat thing. And then other things you can try, like climbing, gymnastics, stuff like that. Any kind of acrobatic type stuff, that's what you're also using that for. No one has animal handling. Does anyone have artist?
No.
Nope. Okay. What about charisma? Anybody got charisma? Nice. Charisma has 3 different subskills: interrogation, intimidation, and persuasion. You get to use the APs in charisma to substitute for... they act as both the AV, the affecting value, and the EV, the effecting value. Or the acting value and the affecting value. So the numbers on the left side of the column, you get to sub that in for other things. Normally you'd be using your influence, your intuition, or your aura or your will to resist. So you're kind of a badass with that. Anyone have detective?
I do.
Okay, so detective is 5 separate subskills: clue analysis, counterfeit recognition, identification systems, police procedures, and law. Some of those are kind of self-evident, I think. Identification systems allows you to verify identity of another character by fingerprints, retinal patterns, stuff like that. It's opposed by the thief skill, normally, if you're trying to get through them. And then getting clues is this neat thing. So the way that a lot of the adventures are written, there are tiers of things that you're going to get as results. So you'll make a roll, and if you get 1 RAP, which is a result acting point. I can't remember what RAP stand for, or whatever the RAP is. So, result APs. If you get 1 result AP, you get 1 level of the results. If you get half of the resisting value, then you get even more information. If you get the full amount, then it's even more. So let's say that the example they give in the book is, let's say that there is a cigarette holder that might give you some information. So what is your detective skill?
4.
4. So let's compare 4 to 3. So 4 to 3, you need to roll an 11 or higher to succeed. Okay, and then if you succeeded, just let's say an average success, we'll not get into what's going on yet, you get 1 result AP out of that. And the way I'm determining that is comparing 3 to 4 to 3 to 4 on the result table. That tells me you get the bare minimum of it. But let's say you either rolled really awesome, and how you roll really awesome, guys, is when you roll doubles. If you roll doubles, you get to choose whether you want to re-roll and add that to the result. The only exception is if you roll double ones. Double ones, you fail at your task and something shitty is going to happen. I get to go wild with my terrible ideas of what I want to have happen. Another thing you can do is you can spend hero points to affect your dice roll. So what you do is, before you make your roll, you spend hero points to change one of your values. You cannot spend more hero points, and it's a 1-for-1 basis that they're raised. You cannot get more or spend more hero points than whatever your governing stat or whatever is. So let's say that, Dave, you really want to make some insane, acrobatics check. You can't spend more than 10 hero points to bump that up to 20. Spending hero points is a very big part of the game. It's really expected that you're going to use that stuff to try and play your, for those real important character moments and whatever. There are 2 other things that you can do with hero points that are combat related that's important to know about. One of them is recovering. So like basically ignoring damage. You spend 1 for 1 up to the max of your resistance value to ignore that damage. This is why Batman can take a backhand from Superman. Superman would turn him into a bloody paste, but if in the game he spent hero points to bump that up, then he may actually survive that first thing just by ignoring the damage. You can also do emergency recovery, which is a different thing. Instead of ignoring, let's say you fucked up and you didn't suck up some hits and you've been taking a lot of small ones. Now you're like, shit, I might get taken down by this relatively small bit of damage. What you could do is do an emergency recovery. You make a roll against your own body. So it's an AV and AV, OV, EV, RV equal to your body stat, or mind if it's mental damage, or spirit if it's mystical damage. You make that roll, and then that will tell you what how many points you recover based on your results. Okay, so like let's say Deadshot, what's your body?
My body is 5.
It's 5, okay. So let's say you rolled 5. Let's say you got an average roll. Oh, one other interesting thing, guys. If you roll better than 11, so let's say that your Deadshot, your weaponry skill is what, 12?
Yeah, for
Okay.
firearms.
Yeah. So 12, let's compare 12 to the average, let's say, cop's dexterity. So it's a 3. Or criminals, whatever, a 3. Right now, you need a 4 in order to hit with it. But let's say that you rolled, I don't know, a 16. Well, then what we do is we start counting to the right. As soon as you hit that red number, that starts counting as 1 column shift. So we got 1, 2, 3, brings us over to 15, right? We remember that you got the 3, we look down. What is the EV of your guns?
5.
5. So here's the interesting thing. So 5's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. But what's even better is because it is an exotic weapon, this is a specially made gun, you can choose to substitute your skill of weaponry for the EV. So what is your weaponry again?
Weaponry of 12.
So let's compare 12 to that poor hapless sod's, let's say, body of 3. And then we also have 3 column shifts. So right now we're at 9 to start. We go 1 to the left, 10, 1 more, we get the A. What A means is all. Whatever the number is, you did 12 damage. It would be sufficient to kill him with 3 points of damage, because that's all he can take. You've killed him so much that even if he spent hero points, he could not survive that. Now, one of the things that, because it's a superhero game, you choose whether you're entering lethal combat or non-lethal combat. Using guns almost always is no, you're entering killing combat, so if they lose all their RPs, they die. But that's what you can do with, that's sort of how the things all fit together for figuring it out. I feel like it really makes heroes feel like super badasses, and the column shifts in particular. The thing with the doubles as well, it's if you roll double ones at any point. So the whole thing of rolling doubles is a bit of fun risk reward for you guys of like, you've only got 1% chance of rolling those 2 ones, but it's always there. So if you have exploding dice, you could like explode twice, and then on the third one, roll double 1. So that is the interesting thing there. So anyway, that is Detective. That's what Detective does. Gadgetry. Who else has Gadgetry? I think Deadshot and Shade do, right?
Yeah.
So Gadgetry is sort of the all-purpose like mechanics bullshit stuff. There's things you can use for it to do things between sessions, and we're not really going to use that. But what is going to be important for the purpose of the play is you can use it to identify a gadget, and you can use it to dick around with stuff. If something needs repairing, if something needs to be hacked, or whatever else, Gadgetry is the thing you're using. Who's got Martial Artist? Nice, everybody, isn't it? Yeah. Martial Artist. First off, you get permanently +2 to your initiative score, so that's already been included in your characters. You can also substitute for either AV, EV, OV, or RV when you're engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Normally, hand-to-hand combat, the acting value is your dex, the opposing value is the target's dex, then the effect value is your strength, and the resistance value is their body. Martial Artist allows you to sort of cheat with that. So that is how
you only use it for 1 or for everything?
You can only use it for 1.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a neat way. I like the using values for different values. That's one of, like in Mutants and Masterminds, a character with a pistol is kind of a chump compared to a character who just punches people normally because of the way the math works out. So I like that kind of twist on, use the higher value from your skill to represent you can be deadly with pistols.
Yeah. And it's
a superhero game.
It's pretty. I like it an awful lot. I think it does a nice way of emulating the source material, right? Of being a badass superhero. Next one. Does anyone have medicine? Nope. How about military science?
Ding ding.
Ding ding. 5 sub skills there, guys. Camouflage, which allows you to hide targets, so your camouflage skill becomes, or your military science skill becomes the target number of people need to roll to see it. Cartography allows you to navigate around. Demolitions, I'm going to let you guess what that one does. Electronic countermeasures allows you to jam devices. And did I miss one? Tracking. Tracking does exactly what it says. It is, let's see here. The AV and EV of a tracking action equal to your APs of military science, while the OV, RV is the quarry's dex or their APs of military science. So, the average person, again, like you can kind of compare the numbers. You can see how easily some of your characters will be able to, especially for normal people, beat the bejesus out of them. No one has occultism. Is there, or occultist? I don't think. No. How about scientist? Anyone got scientist? No. Okay. How about thief? Everybody's got thief. Love it. Thief skill, 6 sub-skills here, guys. These include escape artist, forgery, locks and safes, pickpocketing, security systems, and stealth.
So, Kev, when you list off the trained sub-skills, I just clicked on the blue hyperlink, and it pops up all those skills underneath. Do we need to click them off or anything for this character sheet to function properly?
Nope, I don't think so. Nope, I think you should be fine. Like if you're only trained in certain ones, you click it there. Okay,
so if it says in your character sheet in brackets only certain ones, does that mean you only have access to those ones?
Yes, if on your character sheet, if it has only certain sub-skills, and that's the only ones you're trained in. But otherwise...
Okay, so for military science, I only get tracking and camouflage then.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so that's thief, and then the last, vehicles. Anyone got vehicles?
I do.
Yep, okay, so that, it allows you to substitute your vehicles skill for your acting value, your AV, or if firing at another vehicle, the OV equals the vehicle skill of the opposing operator. Okay, so it also serves as the opposing value if someone's trying to shoot you. You can also do, let's see here. A character who attempts a trick maneuver such as leaping a canyon or avoiding a collision in an asteroid field receives from a +1 to +10 column shift modifier to the opposing value for the vehicle attempt. A +1 shift would modify a simple motorcycle. Okay, so that's... Oh, so it's the roll to just try and safely operate your vehicle. Last thing is weaponry, which I know Deadshot for sure needs to know about. The AV, so normally the acting value for attacks made with weaponry equal character's AP in the skills, substituted for dex, with EV equal to the damage inflicted by the weapon itself. The difference is with an exotic weapon, which includes the use of specially designed and commercially unavailable weaponry, most notably weapons designed expressly for a particular hero or villain. Use of an exotic weapon by a character for whom the weapon was not designed requires... What is it here? Oh, I'm wrong. Sorry, Arlen. I'm wrong about the thing.
Yeah, I think mine are just pistols. They're cool pistols, but they're not an exotic weapon.
No, and I think it's the what do you call it? It's the column shifts that you're going to try to kind of hang your hat on for.
Yeah, and still, if I succeed really well.
Well, and that's so. Here's another thing. So that is the basics of the game, guys. That's how you're basically like how you figure out how to make your opposing rolls and things like that. There are a ton of kind of like small variations. Now, the thing that you see on the screen here. As the background, that is actually something from, I think it's the first edition. I know the first edition had the black and red covers, because this is what second edition looks like. I just did not have time to scan the stuff in. It's got a different kind of purple color. I think the numbers are about the same, but the reason I wanted to have this on here is you see the combat modifiers thing there, guys? Down at the bottom left of this one, the one on the right-hand side? That's what you're... so that stuff is still largely correct. So if you are... what a critical blow is kind of... It's making it a harder shot to get a better value. So it's trading in stuff ahead of time to get automatic column shifts out of the deal. Because of the vagaries of dice rolls, too, if you got, like, say, a 2 or 3 that you need to roll to get the hit, it might be more efficient to use something like a critical blow than it would be to try and just roll really high. Devastating attack is just the exceptional version of that. You're giving +4 columns to the opposing value, but you're going to net 6 column shifts for it. This is the going all out. You're probably going to want to coincide that with some hero point spends as well to try and...
Is that kind of like Mighty Blow then, where you take the penalty on your to hit to take a pile of to do an extra damage?
Exactly. So like, take a look at this. So let's say you want to do, we're back with Deadshot again, trying to shoot this poor cop again. I don't know what this cop ever did to you, Deadshot, but he's getting shot again. So this, let's say it's a mafioso, so it's a little more, whatever.
Well, I got two guns. I could shoot a cop and a mafioso.
This is true. And that's, well, we're skipping forward to multi-attack there. Because that's what multi-attack, if you guys who are quite badass with stuff, that's where you want to start looking. If you want to jump in, like to model Batman jumping in and taking out 8, thugs right away, you're going to look at the multi-attack on 5 to 8 people, +3 to their opposing value, +3 to their resistance. So you're not going to hit as hard, you're not going to hit as often, but you hit a lot more. What your devastating attack would be, though, let's say they've got 3 again, you've got 12, so you could go 4 column shifts to the positive ones, which go to the right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to roll 13 or higher, but if you hit on that, you get 6 column shifts the other way plus whatever you roll. So that would be, and then for every point past the A, you add +1 to it. So if your gun does 5 damage, their body is a 3. 1, 2, 3 gets me to the +1 column shift thing. So it's another +3 plus whatever you rolled would be 9 damage. So that's how we get to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Pulling your punch is just so you don't smoosh. This is how Superman can take out a a regular human thug without worrying about pasting him. Sweep attack is not quite the same as multi-attack. It's like you pick up, the example they use in the book is you pick up a football uprights, and then you try and like sweep through people. That's what you can do with that.
So it's like an area attack instead of specifically trying to hit multiple people?
It's trying to hit multiple people just with a very big thing. Picking up a car and smashing a bunch of heroes or villains with it. Team attack is when you guys try to... if you're facing something that is really hard to connect with, this is what a good strategy is trying to get you guys to work together so you can get those hits to land. Also, you can more likely, because you're getting column shifts to the left, the minus, it's going to give you hopefully a better chance of doing damage. You can also stack this shit together. So if you want to do a team attack and a devastating attack, say, to take down some little big tough thing, that's how you'd go about doing that. Trick shot. This is for Deadshot in particular. This is what you can use to do your any kind of cool shit that you want to do with your guns. We're probably not going to pick up dice for everything you do because you're such a colossal badass with it. But if there is something where like you want to take advantage of the surroundings and whatnot, and shoot like an awning down to fall into some guys who are pursuing Bronze Tiger or Shade, that's what we'd roll for. So your trick shot with that. Okay.
You're gonna bounce a bullet off that lamppost and then off a car and then hit the guy? Come on, you can't do that.
That is the thing to bear in mind. Like, you guys are playing superheroes, and the cool thing with the game system is it models it so you feel like them. So feel free to... it's cool that we're playing kind of grounded street-level heroes in this because you get to see just how badass even they are in the game. I think the game does a really good job of those low levels. It plays Superman pretty awesome as well, too. But, I thought it'd be more interesting to start with this to see how this feels, how you still feel like really badass superheroes without having to have crazy powers and whatnot. Although Shade does have crazy powers. All right, so that's all our skills, guys. That's how all of those are made use of. We've done a little bit of chat about what how the game works. Let's talk about advantages, because I think that's next up. Yeah. Most things, I think, okay, so Iron Nerves is the only one I think that will come into play. The connections and stuff like that, those probably won't come into play. But I'll tell you what they do anyway, just in case you guys want to try and improvise something. Connection allows you to call on favors from some organizations. And I want you guys to feel free to be as inventive as you want with this. This is... the like, oh, I was in so-and-so and ran into this person. that's oh man, he knows all about, or she knows all about the thing that we're trying to do right now. That is a staple of the source material, so feel free to use that. So I think that Deadshot, you do have a connection with the underworld that's quite high.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something you can definitely try and bring into play. Iron Nerves gives you a +2 column shift for your OV and RV against any kind of fear effect. So like aura of fear, phobia, or stuff like that, you're just a toughened badass. So normally you'd be using your aura and your mind to resist that stuff. Make sure you get 2 column shifts on that. And that's anyone who's got that advantage. I'm not sure. Lightning Reflexes just adds to something at the front and then never does anything ever again. Intensive Training, same thing. It applies to something during character creation. It makes it so certain skills and attributes are cheaper to buy if you're building the character, but it makes powers more expensive. So if you want to play a character who's like Batman or Nightwing, who's all about training as opposed to superpowers, that's a way of sort of, making it cheaper. What else here? I think that's it for the advantages that, unless Shade's got something I'm not aware of here. The meta zone.
Yeah, I just got area knowledge. That's about it.
Yep.
I'm trapped in Earth zone, so.
Yeah, well, no, you're not trapped there. You are trapped on Earth right now.
Well, it says stranding shade in the Earth zone, which I'm guessing is Earth.
So. Or yes, exactly. And you can feel free to call it the Earth zone or whatnot too. Remember, you are an alien. Your drawbacks are forced exile. That doesn't have any specific mechanical effects. It's just it's a story thing. Okay, minor irrational attraction. Let's talk about that because that's one of the fun things in the game. An irrational attraction is something that you will go out of your way to find the source and satisfy your desires. If you are presented with an opportunity with this, then what you need to do is let's see here.
Oh, Deadshot's drawbacks, those are great.
Okay, so you must make a roll, and there's a flat number that you're rolling against. If you're successful, then you overcome it until you're re-exposed to the stimulus. If you fail, then it must occupy your attention to the exclusion of all else. Hero points may never be spent to affect this roll. So I know that Deadshot's got at least 1. So
I've got 3. I've got 2 minors and a serious.
That's awesome. So the minor is 5 or less. So that means you're going to roll 2d6 and 5. Serious is 11. Sorry, not 5 or less. 5 or higher. 11 or higher is the serious. And you don't have catastrophic, do you?
Looks like he's going to be making trick shots in combat a lot.
Yeah. And to kill people as well, too. And
so
then,
what is a minor psychological inability?
So
instability?
Yeah, so psychological instabilities are... let's see, your character with this drawback is mentally unstable and subject to dramatic mood shifts, periodic extreme depression, or even violent outbursts. Yours... Let's see here. Whenever the psychologically unstable character rolls a double ones on any dice action, you will break down and suffer consequences relative to the instability's severity. So yours is what, serious or minor?
Minor.
Minor, it'll be a memory lapse. So you sort of black out. So you may do shit and then not remember doing it.
Plausible deniability.
Oh, that's the length of time. Okay, so the time is listed in 2 APs, which is... Let's see, if we look on the right side there, it gives us the thing, 2 APs, 16 seconds. So it's really not that long. You'll black out for 16 seconds and then kind of come to. So this is you...
Well, for a wicked fast martial artist, you might be able to get a lot done.
There's a lot of shit that might go wrong there. Okay. And then I think that's it for advantages, guys, and drawbacks. So let's I think the last thing we need to talk about is gear and powers. So the gear, one of the things that it does, and this is a little, I mean, it makes sense once you kind of know it. So when you're, for all the gear that's listed there, if there is, what's listed there is the body and it is italicized, then you can substitute it for your own stats. So like, I think your vest is italicized. Yeah, see how yours is, the or Miraco vest is italicized, John?
Body, yes.
That means you can substitute the body of the vest for your body as an RV, as a resistance value. Okay?
Cool.
it doesn't mean that you've got 7 points of body. It means that it just substitutes for it instead. So you're less likely to get damaged, but you still only have a body of 5. The EV is it substitutes in for the EV, and you can see yours, Arlen. You've got the stealth. That's their kind of weird way of what do you call it? Of modeling how hard it is to hear your silenced guns. Okay. The R number there, that is your reliability number. If it ever comes up at 2, your guns jam. And ammo is just how many. How does ammo work in this? Let me just double check. Because I don't think you track the actual ammo. I think that you it's like a number. But let me just double check here. It's neat too because they've got a distinction between real world gadgets and like comic book gadgets. They're subject to slightly different rules. The gun may only be fired a number of times equal to its ammo rating before it must be reloaded. Reloading is an automatic action, but the character may not perform a dice action during the same phase when you reload. So there you go. So you can fire it 8 times, then you reload. We're assuming you got more than enough to keep you through the whole thing. Just means that you're going to have to at some point, we see you do that reload, so just bear that in mind. And it doesn't mean like there's one bullet. This is all abstracted into comic booky kind of awesomeness. It's you spraying guns all over the place or whatever. Then let's see here. So I think that's everything for you. Oh, telescopic vision and thermal vision. So thermal vision, the number that you got there is what you would use as an acting value opposing some kind of darkness. So let's say someone's got like darkness power, like say Nightshade, or there's a DC hero called Obsidian who has that. Then you would use that to oppose it. Otherwise, it's against normal darkness, which I think is like 3 or 4. So it means that your thermal vision will easily be able to see in the darkness. What your telescopic vision does, let me double check this, is I think you take the APs of your telescopic vision, and that tells you how far you can see. Oh, no, here's what you do. So you subtract it from the APs. This is something that you'll recognize from Mutants and Masterminds 3rd Arlen or DC Adventures, is there's a lot of cool ways that the AP benchmark chart works, right? Like if you want to figure out how far you can move in, if you got a flight power and you want to know how far you can move in miles per hour, then you take, like, let's say I've got a flight of 7. An hour is 10, so I add 10 to 17, or 10 to 7. 17, I can move 125 miles per hour. Because I'm adding 7 to 10 and then I'm comparing that to the distance. What you do is you subtract, when you're using your telescopic thing, subtract 9 from the distance, and that tells you how far you're actually looking. So, like, let's say that you have a thing where you could see 150 feet away or 200 yards away, let's say, okay? So 6, let's say 6 is the maximum of human eyesight or whatever. You can actually use your telescopic vision to see 30 miles away. Make sense? And those stack as well.
That's curvature of the Earth kind of distance.
Yeah. That's...
Okay,
well,
so
you get up on top of a building or something.
Absolutely. All right. One other thing I'll point out too. It's the motivation is something that is sometimes underplayed in hero RPGs or superhero RPGs. The motivation, like the reason you're doing your stuff, is pretty important. Deadshot's is psychopath, so like, you can feel free to interpret that however you want, but we compare that to, say, Bronze Tiger, whose motivation is responsibility of power, right? Or Shades, which is seeking justice. Yeah. So, like, those are very different reasons for doing what you're doing, and I think it provides a good way of figuring out how you want to roleplay your character in response to certain circumstances, right? And also how we can have fun resistance between the characters as well, too, because, your psychopath who fucking loves killing people is, maybe going to be a problem for Shade if it turns out to be relatively innocent civilians, or people co-opted or whatever. the last thing I need to talk about is Shade's powers, because you're the only one who's actually got some different powers here. So that you cannot use your dimension travel power doesn't function, so we're not going to worry about that. You have an ability called Aura of Fear, and that is a mystic ability. One of the kind of perplexing things they do in the game, and I get it because it's supposed to be linked to attributes, is they separate the powers into physical, mental, and spiritual things. And some of them, they make sense, like your body armor is a physical one, obviously. You know, telepathy is a mental one, obviously. But there's some perplexing ones like, what was it, flame enemy? Well, I guess flame animation, that does kind of make sense. No, ice animation, join. Some of these do make kind of sense, I guess. Animal control is a mystical one as opposed to mental. But anyway, I'm talking about the game instead of what we're doing here. So, Aura of Fear, what you do is it extends to a distance equal to APs. So what are your APs in Aura of Fear? 6. So that means 200 yards out. So it extends 200 yards, and then those within it must make a action check. Oh, you make the action check against the influence and spirit of targets. Anyone within that range. And then unless the target has Iron Will, then it gets 2 column shifts against that. If your result APs are equal to or greater than an opponent's spirit, then the opponent will simply stand in place and quiver. Otherwise, positive RAPs they will flee the scene for a number of rounds or number of a length of time equal to the APs. So yours is 6, right?
Yes.
On average, that people have 2. Let's say you get a success on your first roll, no column shifts. 6 versus 2 is 3. It means the average person will stand quaking in fear at the weird images coming from your Americo vest. Do you see how I came to that, John?
You're using the action table or the result table?
Result table.
Okay,
I'm assuming that you were successful on your roll. I'm comparing 6 to the resistance value of 2, which is the average person's spirit.
Okay, so we got a 3. Got it.
And 3 is more than what their spirit is. So that's why it would be, standing in fear.
Okay.
Okay. The next one you've got is Flight. That just is what it says. It's not a dice roll to use it, so you can use Flight. You have a flight of 6, which means in any one phase, which is 4 seconds, you can move 200 yards. Or if you want that in miles per hour, 16 is 60 miles. So you can fly 60 miles an hour.
Cool.
Okay? And the way I got that is, again, just looking at the benchmark APs and adding 6 to 10. 10 is 10 APs is 1 hour. 10 plus your flight of 6 gives me 16. That tells me how far you can go. Okay. Let's see, your next one is force field.
Yes.
Oh, and you got to roll for you got to roll to activate the stuff. Your reliability number is 3. So if you roll 2,
I have to roll 2.
if you roll 2 or a 3, that means your Miracle Vest stops functioning. Okay.
Is that on all powers or just on force field?
No, that's for all your powers.
Okay.
Is that because his connection to his homeworld has been disrupted or whatever?
It's partly that, but it's also partly just kind of like, because it's a staple in comics that, like, why is my XYZ thing not working, you know? Like, it's the sort of dramatic twist that sometimes comes up in, in comics. So it's kind of that.
So whenever I use a power, I gotta make a roll. Make my roll to affect them if I get a 2 or 3.
Let me double check. See if it's only for dice actions, because it may be that, like, you're able to fly to all the live long day without ever having to make that roll. But
weird flying and oh shit.
Yeah, to suddenly. Well, I mean it. But you know what it might be though. If you were trying to, like, say, like navigate through an asteroid field or some other crazy thing, right? Or fly through, I don't know, a windstorm or a hailstorm or whatnot. That would be a dice action. And if that came up, I actually can't find an easy access, and I'm just gonna rule it that way for now anyway. If I'm wrong, then that feels right to me.
Well, I mean, that's why his dimensional travel got busted.
Yeah, so your dimension exactly. So it's sort of like not functioning properly right now anyway, and it's actually another person. It's a crazy scientist from the Metazone who created it. And then your force field. Okay, so force field.
adds on top of my
Yes,
body
it
value, I
it
think?
stacks to the physical to the RV against physical attacks. So not mental, not spiritual, but it adds to your basically your body. So and then you can also, because of the italicized, you can add the body of the vest instead, which means your total resistance when you got your force field up is a 19. To give you a range, Superman has a strength of 25.
Well,
And
I'm
he's
like, I got a body of 7 and then a force field of 8. Shouldn't that be 15?
oh I'm sorry, I saw the dimension travel number. Yes, you're right. So it's 15.
Okay.
So yeah, forgive me. You're absolutely right. So that puts you at 15. Now, one small little thing that they add in as well too, and I thought it'd be fun to do this just because it'll give a little bit of variety. If you'll notice that, like some of the dice numbers or whatnot, some of the values are, it captures two of them. So like a 7 and an 8, if it is the same, and a 9 or a 10 is the same as far as the numbers are. What the game suggests as an option is if you have equal stats, right, or the same column, but one is higher than the other one, then you make it more favorable to the person who has the higher stat by 1. So like, let's say that Bronze Tiger is facing off against another equally skilled martial artist, or let's say slightly less. So they got 9, you got 10. You're trying to beat the shit out of them. They've put their martial art of 9 into their resistance or opposing value. Your 10 versus a 9 normally would be an 11 or less. Do you see how I got that?
Yeah.
But because you're 1 point higher, we bump it down to 10. To reflect that of the two, you're slightly better than him.
Okay. So that gives me a slightly easier chance of success.
Exactly. And conversely, if he's trying to hit you, because you're slightly better, we bump it up to 12. Does that make sense? So that just gives, it's a neat little way, especially for lower AP stuff. If you got a character who's got a 3 strength and a 4 strength, you want to be able to give some kind of mechanical effect beyond the result APs, for it. So I think, guys, that is it. I think, do you guys have any questions about your characters? The only other dice thing we haven't talked about yet is initiative. Initiative, you can always choose to add whatever you like in hero points to your initiative score when you roll it. Then you roll 1d10 and you add it to your initiative score. Now, the average, say, run-of-the-mill punk, that you would face on the street. Let me get the stats here. They would have, an experienced thug is going to have an initiative of about 10. So you can judge for yourself how much you need to spend in order to go first, based on that. Now, heroes or villains that are actually like named characters and shit like that, they're going to be higher. And God forbid you face someone who's got super speed, because they go even faster. Because you get to add your stat of super speed into your initiative before you roll. But you're always free to do that. And we bid with hero point spending until we're done. So, like, let's say we... let's see here. We'll pick on Shade now. Shade, what's your dexterity?
Dexterity for Shade is a 6.
6. Okay. So let's say I'm gonna attack you with a character who's got the acting value is going to be an 8. So right now I got an 8 against your 6. I'm going to tell you. You know what? I'm going to spend 2 hero points to bump that up to a 10 for now. So now all I need is a 7 to hit you. But what you can do is spend up to 6 hero points to bump your opposing value up.
Okay.
And then let's say you spend, I'll put 2 into mine. I might say, well, I'm going to put 2 more into mine. And I can keep doing that. We go back and forth until we're done spending hero points. Then we make the roll.
Poker.
What's that?
It's like playing poker before they actually play the hand.
Well, and it's tough because, like, the thing that's I think is going to be interesting about it is you get a huge amount of hero points at the end of the adventure as well too. But the thing that I think is interesting is that because hero points play such a big role for recovery and for sucking up damage, that it's kind of like you're risking not having those points available when you need to suck up a really big bad hit if someone gets a crit or something like that, right? So I think it's a fun kind of risk-reward decision that you make as to when to spend those.
That's kind of like spending your money on healing potions so you can survive to the next level versus spending money or holding your money to buy super fancy armor, which doesn't help you if you're dead.
Exactly. Say as an example.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Okay, so then what we do, guys,
Just
is
teasing you, Mo.
the only other thing that we do that, and this will be something kind of familiar for the Ash players here. For declaring actions, beginning with the character that has the lowest initiative score after rolling, the GM and each of the players announce out loud their actions for the phase in the order of the scores lowest to highest, and then we start taking those actions.
We should fight some thugs just for fun.
I think there's a good chance of you doing that. Okay, so when when a character declares his actions, you must indicate which of the three actions will be, and what the three actions will be, and then what order they'll be performed. For example, Starman could declare that he's going to fly into a building, an automatic action, look around, automatic action, and use his flame project if he spots someone who looks hostile. A dice action with a condition. So the condition is like the if and, it's the ready in action kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here, what else? Or he could declare that he's going to fly high into the air, an automatic action, and shoot and anyone who shoots at them, he'll blast them back. A dice action with a condition. And then there's a note of fair play. Good GMs and players will always separate what they know from what the characters they are playing know. If a player's heroes are trying to sneak up on a villain from out of a manhole cover, for instance, a good GM would never have the villain declare that she is going to rip off the sewer cap and blast it before the heroes can attack. Well, that was my plan A for every single fucking fight so far. So I don't know what I'm going to do now, guys. This is just taking all the fun away from the DM. And then we resolve the actions.
Yeah, you don't have to be a good DM.
Exactly. Now, I think there is a way.
Minor irrational attraction to bad DMing practices.
Exactly. So then, here's one difference here. Defense actions are to come into effect immediately after they're declared. Even if a character has a lower initiative score than his attacker, the character employing a defensive maneuver gets to use the maneuver to fend off the attack. And the defensive maneuvers are block, which is an active action to try and interpose something between you and the attacker, and then it becomes the thing you've interposed that defends that. None of you guys are like Wonder Woman with her bracers or like Captain America with a shield, so you would want to, if you take that approach, you want to, grab something and interpose it. You can dodge. I think, does everybody have acrobatics? Or just, no? Okay, so it's just Bronze Tiger. If you declare dodge, it's a +1 column shift to your opposing value, unless you have acrobatics, in which case you get to add that amount to it. So it's pretty badass. Now you are declaring a defense then, but that's it. I think those are all the conditions we need to know about right now. There's more tactical options, but I think that between the critical blow, if there's something you guys want to try in it, let me know. And we'll just sort of figure out what that will look like in the rules. The last thing, remember I mentioned how you can make the recovery roll thing? That is at the end of, that's the final step of every combat round. So first step is activate automatic powers. Second step is roll for initiative. Third step is declare actions. Fourth step, resolve actions. And then the fifth step is make recovery rolls. Okay? So, and then the recovery rolls aren't automatically. You have to spend 15 hero points to make a recovery check, but it's something you can bear in mind that you can do. All right. Now.
And we get hero points back at the end of the adventure?
You get hero points back at the end of the adventure. Because we're fucking around, it's probably a good chance I'll give you a reward. And there's an interesting way. Oh, there's one other thing that I think I love about this. And if you guys want to come up with something for the session, then we'll let you get automatic hero point revolves. The game bakes in the idea of subplots. So subplots are sort of like the B story that's going on in the comic, that only really relates to one character, but comes up and causes complications for them. The reason I think a couple reasons I think it's really interesting. For one, you guys come up with the subplots. You guys tell me what the subplots are, and then I incorporate that. My job is to incorporate that shit into what you guys are doing. If you think a subplot sucks or it's not going anywhere, you can change it. We just do that. But when it comes up, you get a personal reward of hero points for the subplot. here's the game master's. Here's what you think of. Okay, questions for the player. What is the focus of the subplot? What brings the focal issue into play? Who's involved in the event? What are your character's feelings? Does your character know how other characters might react to it? How can the subplot be resolved? And what might also happen to the character as a result of the subplot? You don't need to remember all that shit. It's just whatever sticks against the wall, that's all good. Here's some examples of subplots. Like there's like 8-page section of the subplot. So like it's a really big part of the ongoing campaign in the game. So here's some subplot categories: criminal past, secret past, death guilt, enemies, family, friends, job, power complications, public reputation, romance, secret identity, school, wealth, or whatever other thing you can think up with. So I'm, even as I'm going through these, I'm picturing how, like, at least 2 of those, because I've been playing so much fucking amazing Spider-Man lately, or Spider-Man video game, job, secret identity, public reputation, friends, family, enemies, like all that shit has come up in Spider-Man's past as we go along. So there's going to be the plot of whatever we're doing tonight as the actual adventure. But if you guys have an idea for a subplot, either now or, over the course of the session, throw it out there. Let's have some fun. And if you think there's a subplot that, once we sort of learn where we are and what you guys are doing, then please feel free to throw it in. Like, I can tell you that Deadshot in his miniseries, the major subplot, and maybe even the main plot in that, it's a subplot that became a whole side adventure for him, is his family. Because his daughter was kidnapped by one mafioso to try and pressure him into killing another mafioso. As you may imagine, it did not work out well for said kidnapper or for the guy he wanted to have killed. So, but that's the kind of thing I think is really fun about this game. It's a really, really neat idea that it expressly sets that up, and it gives you the incentive of getting hero points back by chasing those and developing those side stories. I think it's a really, really cool way. And for a game that came out in 1987, that's a pretty fucking forward-thinking way of thinking a player's role in the course of of playing the game. So, let me think here. Is there anything else, guys, that we need to talk about? Got a good sense of who your characters are now. You got a good sense of how we're going to do things. Would you like to shoot some bad guys to give a quick demo here?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Well, I think Deadshot's going to be shooting, and Bronze Tiger and Shade are going to be fisticuffing.
Okay. So let's see here. Let's just, we'll go through your training. You know what? Fuck it. This is a Suicide Squad. Let's have a training thing against with you guys against each other.
Oh, no.
Because let's see. Let me quickly get your tokens here.
Shoot me.
Let's keep it interesting, guys. Non-killing combat there, Floyd.
Well, I think Deadshot's going to have to roll against that.
You really will. You could have taken my head off with that shot. Okay, hold on here. So one of the things that we don't really need when we take our break, I'll try and get an actual map maybe. But because your characters can generally move so far, we're probably going to use today mostly as theater of the mind stuff, just because. Yeah, I mean, with Shade's flight, he can go 200 yards in 4 seconds. So, let's do this, guys. I'm going to get your tokens out here, and I think I can link your stats up here. Let me see here. So, let's do... Should we go top down? Like, green is physical, blue is mental, red is mystical? Or does it make more sense because we've been using red as hit points? Red is physical, blue is mental, green is mystical.
I think the latter.
Okay.
Red, blood, physical.
Okay. So let's see here. Does this work? Yes, it does. Fucking awesome. Okay. Body, mind. Because there's so few stats on this, it is really easy to find these things. Okay, Bronze Tiger, also AKA Ben Turner. Ben. I think you guys can all see. Here we go. Can you all see Bronze Tiger's stats? Or Bronze Tiger's health bars or bars? Oh, how about you know what? You know what would help?
It'd be on the right map.
Hey, I'm on a map.
What a dummy. Madison,
I can't
you
see
idiot.
anything, but I can see my stats. I can see my bars.
Okay, so here we go. And actually, I realize that we're going to need to see that, what do you call it? The chart as well, too. So I'll bring you back to that one we were on momentarily. So Arlen, you have actually played recently, well, I mean, within the last year, actually not within the last 18 months, Marvel Superheroes. This game was out at the same time as Marvel Superheroes, and it was kind of seen as a, it honestly wasn't really a competitor to it, so much as it was a game that, come on, you, there we go, that was also around at the time. I say not competitor because TSR was such a fucking juggernaut at the time, that it didn't really, you know, but this was the for those who wanted to play DC characters as opposed to Marvel characters, this was the, you know, the one that was on offer. The thing that I find interesting about this one as compared to the Marvel Superheroes is that this bakes in the idea of everything being relative to something else. So whereas everything in Marvel is all about whatever your skill is. You know, if you're Aunt May trying to punch Galactus, you know, the chance of doing it is still Aunt May's capacity. Aunt May punching another old lady, Aunt May punching Galactus is the same chance of success. The chance of hurting or whatnot is a different issue, but the nice thing with this game is that it makes those who are more skilled feel more badass because of the way the math works. So it's just a different philosophy, I guess, for setting up your game, but I kind of prefer this to the way that Marvel Superheroes does it. Marvel Superheroes is still a really, really fun game as well, too, but I think that I like the way that this models that a little better.
For all you kids at home who are still in school, get your maths. It helps with games.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand your mathematics.
Mind, boom, and body. Body, boom. Okay. All right, so, guys, let us... So one of the things that, you know, John, you may be wondering, like, oh, Jesus, my stats are a lot lower than these guys. I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me. Remember that automatic actions, including activating your force field, happens before we roll initiative.
Yep.
So, guys...
The activation, I was like, how quickly did this?
I have no powers, so...
So, let's hear. Going into this situation, let's imagine this. First, let's move you guys over to this chart here. There we go, guys. I'll erase this other nonsense on the bottom there, so we don't have anything cluttering us up. And, boom, objects and tokens. Let me move these onto the map layer. Boom. And... let's put our... oh, you know, let me move that down just a scooch. So we can have your heroes right here. Boom. There we go, guys.
Got a lot of talk and chat about having fond memories of this game.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty active chat, and we're already at 10 likes.
Oh, nice.
Not even halfway through.
Thanks, folks. All right, so guys, here, let's do this. Let's imagine that this is in, you know, the kind of like fake village or fake, you know, city that, or fake town that's built for atomic tests. Let's picture that that's where you guys are coming into. Okay, so you guys are all coming in from different areas here. Your job is to be last man standing. That's what. And I damn it, I should have done the picture. Do you guys know who Amanda Waller is?
She's the one who put us all together, right?
Yes, and it's a shame that so Amanda Waller is a notorious badass in the comics, and I think that the best representation of her in media so far has been actually the Justice League Unlimited thing, because she is not only is she a like colossal badass. Spoilers here for the Batman animated series and for Batman Beyond, but she's the one behind creating what's his name, Terry Quinn or Terry McGinnis, the one who's actually the Batman Beyond. He's a clone of Bruce Wayne.
So, well, you know, seen it by now. I mean,
Yeah.
a while.
So is he a clone or he's the son? I think he's a son, actually, because he's Bruce Wayne is the father, and then it's his mom is his actual biological mom. But in any event, that she's the one behind that. She's the one who did that stuff, because she's just a, espionage badass. She's the one. She's also known as the Wall. So Amanda Waller's the one who put you guys in here. You can picture it's about it's a small area. It's maybe say 4 football fields or something like that. That is what area you guys are finding yourself in. We're putting yourself in at 3 different areas here. How would you picture your... Well, let's do this. Let's all roll initiative, and then we'll go through, describe our actions, and then we'll start figuring out what the hell's going on. I imagine some people are going to try and be sneaky, and others are going to be a little more aggressive. Let's do this. Everyone, first off, and I will let your hero points recharge back up to whatever their starting level is, but do you wish to spend any hero points on initiative?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
Okay, let me add turns for you guys here. Add turn.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna spend 10.
Nice.
Fitting out.
So what do you do then?
Let me look up
Subtract
Bronze
10
Tiger
from,
stats for a second.
You just subtract 10 from your current.
From your current hero points, yeah.
I'm gonna let Bronze Tiger go first.
So then go ahead. Each of you guys roll. If you guys have finished spending hero points, each roll 1d10 plus whatever your current initiative stat is. Dave, if you've added hero points, make sure you add that to it. Roll that, and then we're going to add that in. Okay, so Shade's got a 23. Oh, can you guys add your numbers?
Yeah, we can type it in.
Oh, awesome.
That's
So
good.
go ahead and add your numbers in there, guys. Great. That saves me. Thank you. And how did Bronze Tiger do?
So what is it? Your initiative stat?
You're at 1d10 plus your initiative stat, plus you also spent 10 hero points.
Okay.
Okay. So add that to it as well.
I'm still the slowest.
Wait. Hold on. What was your
shouldn't
initiative
be.
is only 17?
Uh,
So initiative is the one at the bottom.
No, you're looking at your int for intelligence. Initiative's at the bottom. Your initiative is 28 without modifiers.
Yes, you got 38 plus 4 is 42 as your initiative score there, Bronze Tiger. Okay, so go ahead and add 42 into your turn order. Okay, so starting with the lowest at Shade, what are you doing? You got 2 automatic actions, 1 dice action. What are you doing with your round? You don't see where these guys are just yet.
Okay. I'm gonna duck into the nearest building and
So moving is automatic action.
gonna throw up a table against the nearest window to block for bullets.
Okay. So and then Deadshot, what are you doing this round?
Does my thermal vision have structure pierce? I guess how thermal is the thermal vision?
Let's take a look here. Thermal vision is a... Oh, yeah, right, because it's thermal vision, not fucking infrared vision.
Yeah.
There's a shit ton. So one of the things that the game does is, rather than trying to... So hero or champions and mutants and masterminds has a lot of base powers, and then you tweak shit to make it what you specifically want to replicate. This game doesn't do that. They're like, nah, let's make up something new. So you got there's a whole bunch of different abilities that do damaging stuff, but they're all different names. So, which is it's a different way of approaching it, and for ease of use.
Well, if you're modeling a universe that already exists, it's different than trying to make a modular game that you can use for any universe, right?
Absolutely, exactly. Although, I mean, that's what Blood of Heroes is. Blood of Heroes is effectively a systemless or settingless book as well. It does have a setting in it, but it's anyway.
It has a Terminator face on the cover I saw. That looked pretty cool.
It's pretty good.
What?
It is super 90s.
What is it?
The game is called Blood of Heroes. Here we go. Thermal vision allows you to see variance in temperature across a character using thermal vision will see variations of the color red in warm areas. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We get it. It's fucking Predator vision. Let's see here.
It's like a
Footprints are detectable with thermal vision for a time equal to the APs of your power. So 8 minutes after someone is there, you can still see their footprints.
Mm-hmm.
You can use thermal vision to detect invisible characters. Yeah, I'd let you try that stuff. I mean, I'm going to give the opposing value a pretty substantial column shifts to it, but I think you could try using it.
Yeah, so I'm going to look around with thermal vision and see if I can't figure out where these guys are.
Okay.
And
so that's a dice action. Or is that? I think just looking is an automatic action, actually.
Okay, yeah, looking automatic. And then I'm going to... Can you do the same, like, look around for multiple things, different actions?
No.
All right. Then I'm just going to do the same sort of, like, nearest building.
Remember, you can do contingent stuff, too. Like, you could say,
Yeah.
If I see someone, I'm going to shoot them.
Well, what I was thinking was that I'd look for, like, a tall building to get up high where I could snipe from. Maybe actually that's what I'll do is first round I won't use my thermal vision. I'll just look for like a 2 or 3 story structure that I can get into.
Probably. Remember, this is a recreation of like there were storefronts in there, so there's probably like a shitty balsa wood or whatever Hollywood replica kind of storefront that's 2 stories.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find that, and then do my best to get up top there, ready to. And then if anybody shows their face, I'm going to shoot at them, but that's just sort of as backup.
Yep. And Bronze Tiger, what are you doing?
I was going to go stealthy. So look around to see where everybody is. And if I spot somebody, go stealthy towards them.
Okay. So you're going to sneak, right? As one of your actions. You're going to be moving as another one to try and look around. And then what is your third one? Are you going to do it on the ground, or do you just like running around?
I want to look around first and then move towards somebody sneaking.
And sneak. Okay, cool.
Or like sneak and move. Sneak and move.
Okay, so then we now reversed. Descending action. So Bronze Tiger, you're up first. So you're moving around. You get to make a check to try and spot anyone because you just acted faster than anybody. I think that at best what you might be able to do is hear them right now. So, do both Deadshot and Shade have Thief skill?
I have Thief.
You have Thief. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna take the highest of the 2. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's have you make one roll, and we'll compare it against both. Okay, so Shade, you don't have any stealth?
Nope.
Okay, so then I think then we're rolling against your dex, which is what?
Dexterity is a 6.
A 6, okay. So the lowest is a 6. What's your thief? Sorry, Arlen, I got these characters.
It's 7.
How about I open them up? Asking you guys each time. All right, so then Bronze Tiger, let's see here. It's 7 is the hardest one. What is your... let's see here.
My thief skill is 10.
Okay. So let's give 10 versus... so give us a roll, and I'll compare it to both results. So 2d10, please. Oh, that's garbage. Oh, shit. All right, so a 10 versus a 9 is... that's you need an 11 in order to hear Deadshot. But against this 5... is it a 7? So you don't hear anybody. Yeah, so you don't hear anybody, but now you start sneaking, so your thief skill will be the one that they're opposing. And then it is Deadshot. So
yeah, and I'm not. I didn't specify I'm moving quietly or anything, so I'm just kind of looking around, hop up, climb up if I can.
Yep.
And get in position, and I don't think I see anybody yet because I didn't look for anybody.
Okay. Okay, so you're...
Bronze Tiger is really terrible at his stealth. And it doesn't sound like he is.
What do you see? Well, the thing is, once Rack activates his force field, it's going to be pretty fucking easy to see, because it's got that weird, field around it. Okay, so then it is... so what do we see as you sort of make your way up, race into this ramshackle building and make your way up to a vantage point?
So Deadshot kind of looks around, sees the spot, and runs around to the back. And there's a convenient ladder at the back to get up on top of the roof. And he's just like, "Oh, perfect."
Yep. Up the top. Awesome. Are we all moving towards the center of town?
I suppose that's where the nearest house was. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to hide out on the edge of town, that's fine. Deadshot and Bronze Tiger seem to be acting more directly right now. Is that fair, guys? So I'm picturing them going to the middle of town. Then it's Shade. What are you doing?
So I went. I think I was looking around to see anybody, and then I'd run inside and throw a table against the window.
Sure.
To protect against gunshots.
So you do not have what do you call it? You don't have thief. So why don't you just give us an intelligence roll against? I think the lowest thief skill is a 9 here.
What? 6, so
7.
Oh, 7. Sorry, I think I get that. I'm opening up your characters right now, so I'll stop getting that wrong. You know, it's a shame. During the break too, I'm going to break out my cards because I lost my cards from my original box set, but this sucker was a promotion, gift to myself thing, and
I need a 13.
These are within.
Nice.
Yeah, with the full stats and shit in the back. We're breaking those out, boys. All right, so then your rack, your intelligence is a 6, so it's 6 versus 7. You need a 13 in order to hear or spot Deadshot.
Okay.
And hold on. I'm going to give you 1 negative column shift because you guys aren't quite together just yet either. So it'll be 15.
Nope.
Okay. So you haven't seen where anyone is. All right. Do you activate your force field?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I'm hoping the table will be more than enough cover.
All right, guys. Then that is the end of round 1, and there's no one needs to make a recovery. So let's go on to round 2. Everyone, decide if you're spending any. First off, any automatic actions. Rack, you activating your force field?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Then, guys, it is your turn to decide if you're spending hero points.
No, the plus 28. You're right, Arlen. I looked at my stats and I'm like, whoa, only 7? That sucks. I better spend some points.
Yeah, so that's intelligence. Initiative is, the one right at the bottom. Okay, so if you guys are not spending anything, 1d10 plus your initiative score. Let's see how everyone does, and then fill that in as your new initiative score in the turn order. 26, 32. Oh, 30! Bronze Tiger loses to Deadshot. Okay, so enter your numbers in, guys. Let me readjust this into 32, 30. Oh, look at that. Okay, so then slowest is once again Shade. What are you doing? What are your 3 actions, Shade?
I'm since I didn't sprint see anybody, I'm gonna pretty much sprint out to the next building and make my way closer.
Okay.
Pretty much, I'm gonna sprint, look around, and if I don't see anybody, I'm gonna move forward again.
Okay. Bronze Tiger, what are you doing this round?
He's going to stay stealthy, so he will look for an adversary, stealth, and move.
Okay. And then Deadshot, what are you doing?
I'm going to scan with my thermals, see if I can't pick up who's walking around or doing anything like that. And then I'm going to... Do I have to declare what I want to say now, or can I decide when I'm talking?
Saying something is so comic booky, you can do that for free.
All right. I think I'm going to negotiate a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just... if the negotiation goes badly, then I'm going to start shooting at whoever talks back to me.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. So negotiation tells me you're not actually engaging the influence of your charisma skill or anything like that. This is just your role-playing stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Awesome. All right. So then, first up is Deadshot.
All right. So let's see if I see anybody.
Now, before you make your roll as well, remember you can choose to spend hero points to bump up your thing. Up to 7 points you can spend on a 1-for-1 basis. It gets bigger.
I'm going to spend 2 hero points to bump up to not... No, I'm going to spend all 3 to bump up to 10 because Bronze Tiger's a 10 stealth.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's do that.
So then
that's a 10.
Yep, and then so you got to roll an 11 or higher. Oh, so close!
So close.
Jeez. So there's like a second where you're looking over and Bronze Tiger stops next to a heating vent and just disappears altogether.
Do I see where Shade is? Because he's easier to spot.
I think you definitely spot where Shade is right now.
All right, so I'm gonna call out, Stripey boy. Can't tell where you are, but we got better odds taking this on 2-1. What do you say we do some shooting and some punching together? And then if Bronze Tiger doesn't respond, I'm just gonna hang out and wait.
Yeah, I think both Bronze Tiger and Rack are aware where Deadshot is now.
Yep.
Of course, he's in the sniper's nest. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have known.
Bronze Tiger, you're up next. What are you doing?
I'm going to ignore the request to join forces because I know he's going to backstab me the first second he gets. So he's not a trustworthy guy, and I'm already dedicated myself to this stealthy action. So if I speak, I'm totally going to blow my stealth.
Okay.
And I will move towards the voice that I heard.
Okay. So it sounds like if you're trying to do that stealthy, then let's do an opposed your thief skill versus his thief skill.
Okay. Same scores as last time then, really?
Yeah. Deadshot is as a 7. So you need a 9 or higher. Do you want to spend any? What it is, you first get to decide whether you're spending any hero points, and then Arlen gets to decide if he's spending any hero points, and then it kind of goes back and forth. So, Bronze Tiger,
I can only spend up to what?
Up to your APs in it, so you could spend up to 10.
Oh, I see.
Your stealth is a 10, right?
Yeah, I'll spend 5.
Nice. You're at 15. Whew.
I will spend 7.
Nice. 14. All right, so 7 versus 15 versus 14. Bronze Tiger is higher, so I'm going to reduce it to a 10. 10 or better to successfully stealth. Nice. That's one column shift as well, too. Because if we look, then you beat it by 1 more. So I think what I'll do is I'll impose a column shift penalty if he tries to CC you next round. You'll get a benefit of your positioning. So what do we see, Dave, as you close the distance here and start making your way up that ladder we just saw Deadshot go up?
Yeah, so earlier on there was like the steam, and that helped disguise me, and I spun around the building and I saw like a little crack in the wall that was barely big enough to squeeze through, but kind of inched himself through while he heard Deadshot talking, and then climbed up the ladder. He's thinking, okay, if I can take Deadshot out, then I don't have to I only have to worry about Shade.
Nice. Okay. Excellent. And then Rack.
Okay, sprinting out, looking around, and then I hear this guy talking to me, so I'm gonna try and perceive him.
Well, you heard it, yes, and you saw Deadshot is on top there, and you see the glint of the sun off of the metallic sheen of his thing, and I think you probably know that he's got definitely has a clear shot on you if he's saying that.
Could I get a perception against Tiger?
Can you? Oh yeah. So you got int of 6. His thief is a 10.
I would like to spend 6 points to see if I can.
Okay, so then you're up to a 12. Bronze Tiger, you want to spend any points to resist that? He currently needs a 9 or higher to spot you.
I'll spend 3.
3, so that puts you at 13. It's now a 13 or higher is what you need, Shade.
Damn.
Okay.
Picking up on that, I'm like.
So what do we see in fiction?
Shade just going along. He jerk when he sees Deadpool. He's like, shit, he's got to beat on me. And he goes, thumbs up.
And you're desperately looking around. Where the hell's Turner?
I know.
Damn it. All right, guys. So that is the end of the round. Everyone, first decide if you're spending... First, automatic actions. Is the shield going up? Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, the weird, distorted field comes around him. And there's this, like, distorted, strange caricature figure of him that goes... Thumbs up. Okay, so guys, go ahead and roll your... first, decide if you're spending any hero points on initiative. Let everyone know.
I am.
How much are you spending?
I'm spending 10.
So Shade is spending 10 on initiative. No? Not for the other guys? All right, then everyone roll. Remember to add the 10 on top of your 10 to your initiative when you roll their shade. Go ahead and roll, guys, and then adjust your turn order, or adjust your number. 36 for Shade. 35 for Bronze Tiger. Wait, 26 for Deadshot? Uh-oh. Okay, so Deadshot, you were up first. What are we... oh, hold on here. Ascending. Thank you. Deadshot, what are you doing first?
So I know where Shade is.
Yep.
So I'm gonna just if he moves or anything, try to keep a bead on him and blast him a couple times, I think.
Okay. So you're gonna
or just like a This is force field. What would I do? No, I don't think I would do that. I would do some sort of like a trick shot because my guns are silenced.
Yep.
So I could blast and hit some like trash cans or something, make a big loud noise to get him to turn in a different direction and hopefully distract him and disorient him. Okay. He's kind of a weird alien dude, so who knows what he's gonna react to weird noises.
Yeah. Tiger, so it's like,
come on.
Damn it, Deadshot, you just screwed up what I was gonna do.
Okay, so that's what you're doing. Bronze Tiger, what are you gonna be doing this round?
So Bronze Tiger is actually going to try and get as close to Deadshot as he can.
Yep.
And he's going to delay and wait until Deadshot shoots. Or if he doesn't shoot, maybe if he relocates. Can you have an or statement in your...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So if he shoots or tries to relocate, then I'm going to jump him.
Okay. And then, Rack, what are you doing this round?
Well, I was totally not serious about joining Deadshot. So,
you don't say.
I'm activating my flight and zooming straight at him because I know where he is. And as soon as I get within range, I'm doing my aura of fear and trying to blanket the whole area.
Oh, man. Okay, cool. So then, let's see here. Now
so we're going to descending. Hey, you know what? Let's all just meet at this one building on the second floor.
Yeah. So first up is Shade then. So your automatic action is to fly, so you can easily cover the distance between the two. Deadshot, you see this coming towards you, but unfortunately he gets to act first. Then, what are you trying to do? You trying to punch him?
Aura of fear.
Oh, aura of fear. Jeepers. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to have you roll separately against the two guys. Now, I think that both Deadshot and Bronze Tiger have Iron Will, right?
Iron Nerves?
Iron Nerves, yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Nerves, yeah.
So you guys get 2 column shifts for your resistance value. So
first up, 0 points.
Hold on. Just hold on. I'm so glad you guys are so excited by it.
It is fun.
Awesome. Okay, so then first up is yes, I'm all right. Anna came and put it on top of Batman and then was using her nose to push it around. Like, this is the game I want to be playing.
With me.
Hello, sweetie. Okay, so first one against, because Deadshot, you're the one he can actually see. It's an AV equal to the power. What's your aura of fear? Is it 6?
It is 6, yes.
6 versus your influence. What's your influence there, Deadshot?
My influence is 6.
Is 6? Okay, but you also get 2 column shifts. Boom, boom. So it puts it to a 9. So right now, Shade, you need a 15 in order to affect Deadshot.
Yeah, I would like to throw hero points into it.
How many do you want to spend?
6.
Okay. That puts it to a 12, means a 9 or higher. Deadshot, you want to spend any points on yours?
I will spend 4 hero points on my defense.
Boom, boom, boom. John, you need a 13 or higher to affect Deadshot.
Fear me. Damn.
12, so close! Now, Bronze Tiger, your influence is what?
7.
7. Okay, so Bronze Tiger's a little easier to... Right now, with 6, it's a 13. Shade, do you want to spend any hero points on your acting value?
4.
4 puts you at a 10. Currently need a 9 or higher. Bronze Tiger, you want to spend any on yours?
So which column are we looking at? I'm in the 7 column?
You're in the 7 column right now.
And he's at what?
Shouldn't he be in the
10.
The higher column for Iron Nerves?
Oh, right. Yeah, hold on. Shit. So currently, I'm sorry. You are... It's a 15 or higher. Sorry, thanks, Arlen. Sorry about So right now he needs a 15 or higher to affect you. Do you want to spend any hero points?
Okay. Yeah, I'll spend 2. Would get one would get me to the next column.
2 would get you 1 more column shift because the column shifts happen after we look at your stats. So if you spent 2 points, it would put you at 9, which would be 1 column higher, so you'd be 1 more. He would need an 18 or higher to affect you.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Put another points into it.
Another point puts it to 11, so now he needs 15 or higher.
No, that's fine. I'll leave it.
That's good. Okay. Go ahead and roll, Shade. No.
Okay. Done.
Oh, you overestimated what these are. Okay, so that was Shade. Then it's Bronze Tiger's turn. What are you doing?
I am. So, am I close enough to see
Why don't we do this?
Deadshot or?
Let's have you make a stealth check to see if Deadshot hears you from behind, and then Deadshot, if he goes forward with his action, which was to kapow kapow, then we'll have your action go. So, let's see here. So wait. Hold on. He does get a chance. Deadshot gets a chance to spend if he chooses to.
Oh, so we have to
So
declare that.
Yeah. So
Right.
your stealth is a 10. Your thief, Arlen, is a 7.
Yes.
Okay, so a 9 or higher is what he needs. Were you going to spend any points on that?
I wasn't going to spend any points.
Okay, so then, yeah, so you succeeded. So you snuck up behind. He doesn't know, and you've got your dice action ready. Deadshot. What are you doing?
So is there a procedure for like taking a penalty for changing your action?
I can't change your action.
Can't change my action. Okay. Well then I'm assuming there's like a air conditioner unit or a something up on one of the, or like a chimney on one of the nearby buildings that I'm like, yep, shoot something next to Shade to see if I can rattle his nerves a little bit.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's treat it like an influence action. So this is like a charisma type action. I'll let you use your weaponry as your acting value, and it's going to be, I think, his intelligence is the opposing value. Unless if he had thief, I'd let you substitute that. No, okay, so it's 12 versus 6 gives you, it's a 5 or higher right now. You want to spend any hero points on your opposing value there, John?
No.
No, okay. So then, Deadshot, go ahead, roll. 13. It's 2 column shifts.
Okay.
So then, looking at the results, 12 versus, I'll just do it against your intelligence again. 6 is 7. With 2 column shifts, brings it to a 10. Now, do you want to spend any resistance? Any points or increase your intelligence for resistance?
I'll spend 4.
4 would only bring you to a 10 versus 12, which would still do 4, and then there's 2 column shifts as 7.
7 points of damage to.
It wouldn't be damage. We're going to compare his result APs to your intelligence. Because he got more result APs than your intelligence, you've heard something coming from behind you, and you don't know it's coming from him.
Okay, so that's fine. I'll accept that.
Okay.
I'll spend...
So how does Shade... So look, you guys tell us what happened then.
Well, obviously, Deadshot is so cunning. He knows, even though Bronze Tiger hasn't responded or anything to him, but Bronze Tiger could have given him a thumbs up from the street or something like that.
Yep.
He knows all he needs to do is just blast to like a chimney as if Bronze Tiger was taking a flying leap off of it or something.
Okay.
And heading right for Shade.
So
Yeah,
Shade...
totally. So...
Yeah, you totally are distracted by, you've heard something over there. So I'm going to give you, what do you guys think the effect of that's going to be? Are you trying to distract him and set him up for another shot there, Deadshot, or are you just trying to make him think?
Thinking strategically, right? There's not really, like, his force field is the big tough thing to get through, so making him easy to hit doesn't really matter.
Yep.
So I think what I'm doing more is trying to get him to waste some time while I can move to a different position and get stealthy again to set up a better shot.
So let's say,
I'll waste an action next turn trying to deal with it.
Love it. Okay, so cool. That sounds good. And then I think, now here's an interesting thing. Bronze Tiger, why don't you give us a thief check against a 7? Because that's the stealth of Deadshot's guns. Let's see if you actually heard them go off.
So a thief check?
Yep, so it's 10 versus 7. So So
Do we have to declare any points or anything on this?
Nah. Oh, you can if you want. I mean,
no, I'm just wondering because the last time I think I jumped the gun, I hit the.
Oh yeah.
Before.
So right now it's a 10 versus a 7 is a 9 or less or 9 or higher.
Okay.
Arlen, do you want to spend any points to make it? No.
Nah.
Okay. So go ahead.
I'll just roll it straight up then.
Just roll straight up. Okay. 9. So you heard it. So you're gonna go in now, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here.
So I picture maybe he's climbing up the right building, but he doesn't know which room he's in.
Yep.
So he's kind of like, climbing up the ladder, and he's like kind of searching through the hallways, and then it's just more like a puff sound, and it's like you see his head turn, and he like starts to dart down the hallway the opposite direction because he knows he was going to the wrong room.
Okay. So what I'm going to say, hold on. I'm going to see how surprise works, because I think my instinct is to give you a column shift to Deadshot's defenses, like give him a -1 column shift to his OV. But let's see here. Let's see if there's something that tells me something different here. Surprise, here we go. Surprise characters may not make any dice actions or automatic actions. Surprise characters have their... Oh, here we go. Two column shift. So you'll still be able to spend points here, Arlen, but you're going to suffer a -2 column shift to your opposing value. So Bronze Tiger, you're going in. You get to make a decision where your martial arts are going. AV, OV, EV, or RV.
Because we know this is a non-lethal kind of battle, though, right?
Yep.
We're not trying to actually kill each other.
Well, Floyd was told that, but...
I didn't shoot at Shade. I shot next to him. I'm a good shot.
Oh shit! You got to make your.
I could still do like
you got your
I could
severe
still do like
irrational attraction too.
Yep.
I could do like a really awesome attack, and I could put this into like damage type thing. Like, so would that be like effect value?
Yes, that would be the effect value.
It doesn't have to be lethal damage. Where it can be like subdual.
Absolutely. Yep. Unless you expressly say you're doing killing actions or killing attacks, it's assumed that it's non-lethal.
No, well, my character wouldn't do that because my character is struggling with the responsibility of power right now, and he's the leader of the suicide
Exactly.
Squad, so
you're trying to put Floyd in place. You're not trying to put him in the hospital.
Yeah. Well, this is a test before we get sent out or whatever. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so then let's see here. So your what's your dex then? 10?
My dex is 10.
Okay. So 10 versus Floyd. What is your dex?
Mine is 8, so it's down to a 5 or higher.
8. So right now you're at a 9. We'll stay at that before we do the column shifts, just because you spend your points based off of you. Just because you got column shifts, you still could spend up to 8 hero points to bump up your points. Does that make sense? Why it's important to make that distinction?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's because the numbers aren't. Yep.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So then, first off, Bronze Tiger, do you wish to spend any hero points?
Yeah, because I'm going to spend hero points on my acting value, right?
Okay.
Because I'm using my martial arts on the effect.
Exactly.
So I'm going to I can spend up to my 10 dex.
Yep. Up to 10 points.
I'm going to spend 10 points on my acting value.
Shit. Okay. Do you want to spend any points on your opposing value there, Deadshot?
I think I'm better served spending on resistance when he hits me than
I think that's not a bad idea.
Him.
Yep. Okay, and you also got 3. So you need to roll a 3 to hit, and then if you roll an 11 or higher, you're going to get column shifts. So let's see. Bronze Tiger. 11. Whoop. There we go. All right, so 11. 11 means you get 1 column shift. So turning down to the resistance value, you put this into EV, so you're starting at a 10. And let's see here. Deadshot's body is a 5. Okay.
So at 4?
That's 4 right now. But you also got 1 column shift, which means it's at a 6. Yeah. So it will be a 6, absent any other things. Now, Deadshot, do you want to spend any points on RV?
So I have to spend. If I spend 6 points, I take no damage.
If you spend 6 points, it goes to
No, because it adjusts. It ups your body relative to. Okay.
12, and then he would still get the 1 column shift. You'd still take 2 points of damage. Here's an alternative. What you could do is if you just want to take that damage, you also have the option of doing, what is it? The last ditch defense. What you do is when you take damage, you spend hero points. Each hero point you spend takes away 1 RAP of damage. So if you took, let's say, Bronze Tiger does 8 points to you, you could spend up to your body stat in hero points to reduce it. You guys also remember at the very end of the round, which will be after this round here, you can also, everyone gets a chance to do last ditch defense. You spend 15 points and then you roll against your body to try and recover, just to recover points from recovering.
It's like the Hulk Hogan's second wind.
Exactly. You do get the hit, but then you make a recovery check afterwards.
So I think, yeah.
So 3 options here. You can either bump up your RV, you can do the last ditch defense, see how much damage Bronze Tiger gets, but if he spends hero points on it, right now you're taking 6 points of damage, which is more than your body. You can only...
Yeah, so I'd be unconscious.
With last ditch defense, you could recover, and that happens as soon as you take that damage, so it just ignores it altogether. The recovery check, that's what happens at the end of the round. That can restore you back from unconsciousness to consciousness.
Okay. So I'm going to spend my 5 points to boost my resistance to 10.
Okay. So we currently have to 10, so you're taking 2 points, and then we'll do 1 column shift to a 3. Bronze Tiger, were you spending any points on effect value?
So that moves it down?
Yes.
So if I spend 2 points, it's still 6?
2 points, it goes down to 6, yeah.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. Jeez. So you, this is just a crazy. How many hero points does everyone have left right now?
22.
36.
Oh, jeez.
We're heroes, man. We're heroes.
So then 6 points is a shit ton. So now, Deadshot, you also get a chance to do last ditch defense if you want.
Yes, so I think I'm going to do that to try to not get knocked out.
Okay, so spend 5 points. Or how many points do you want up to your body?
I'm going to spend all 5.
Okay, so you take 1 RAP. So now reduce your body score. Now you can go to your token, reduce your current body score down by 1. You still resist with your full amount. It just means that once you've taken that many, then you're knocked out.
Yep.
Yeah, there's not a death spiral thing here. So guys, having gone through all that chat, what do we see happen in the fiction here?
I think so. Bronze Tiger, sneaks into the room, and Deadshot's looking through his scope or whatever, and he doesn't see him coming, and he goes for some kind of flat-handed punch to the back of the neck to take him out.
Yep.
And it seems to work, but does it quite? I don't know.
Yeah, some of his costume or something. Arlen, what do you think? What is it? A Deadshot? Does he get a glimpse out of him, out the corner of his eye, or what?
It's in the reflection of the scope, maybe.
Yeah, there's a reflection off of something, and Deadshot is kind of turning and rolling with it as it hits. That Bronze Tiger just wasn't expecting.
Okay.
That.
Whoa. Okay, so Deadshot is hit. All right. Then, guys, that is the end of the round. Now, does anybody want to spend 15 hero points to make a recovery check? Deadshot's the only one who would conceivably do that.
Seems like it's not worth it yet.
Okay.
Right?
Then, guys, end of the round, automatic actions. Anyone need to activate anything that has automatic action? I don't think so. Initiative. Is anyone spending hero points on initiative?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 5.
I'm going to spend 10.
And Shade, are you spending any?
Oh.
Okay. Oh, and I love the idea that Shade looks away, and then as you look back, you see that these guys are beating the shit out of each other.
Thinking maybe that when Deadshot fired off the shot, that's when Tiger pounced on him, and I was already turning around oh shit.
Nice. All right, so let's see here. Shade got a 24. Bronze Tiger 34. Oh, 1. Oh my god. And Deadshot a 1 as well.
That is hilarious.
All those points spent. All right, so go ahead and update your turn order, guys. 24 dead shots, 35. Okay, so let's. And Bronze Tiger is 34.
134. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So first, Rack, what are you doing this round?
So, Deadshot's trick got me to whip around, and I'm doing like barrel rolls in the air, trying to dodge a tiger that I think's coming at me.
Okay.
And then if after that, I'm gonna look and try to figure out what's going on.
So you can assume that you can see these two guys. Like unless they both use their actions to go stealthy, you can assume you can look back and see what's happening there. And then do you want to put... So like one other thing that the game seems to rely on is contingent actions. So you sort of like, okay, if I can see one of them there, do you want to hit them? Do you want to, hit them with that aura of fear again? What do you want to do?
I think I'll tag team Deadshot with Tiger after I recover.
Okay. So are you going to punch him then, or what?
Use my martial arts and just wham.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, let me quickly check, guys. I want to see when you have to declare... So now, here's where you guys have to declare. So during the start of the phase, where are you putting your martial arts points? AV, OV, EV, or RV?
I'm going to go with
you don't have to tell us. Just keep in mind where you want to have it. Okay, everyone's made a decision. Okay, so Rack, so you were doing that. Now, with that in mind, the contingent, is there anything you want to do?
Oh, no, it's I'm going to try and dodge whatever attack I perceived coming.
Okay,
but
so if you're dodging, that's your action. If you're dodging, you cannot attack.
Okay, well, no, I mean, Deadshot tricked me, so I'm going to try and dodge the perceived thing and then look to see what's going on. So.
Okay, so that means you're going to have anyone attacking you is going to suffer -1. You're going to basically you're going to get your what do you call it? Your opposing value goes up by 1 column. Okay, Bronze Tiger, what are you doing?
So now that we're like right there together in melee.
Yep.
What kind of options are like just? I don't need to look or like.
So here's what you could do, right? So like, let's say you could. This is where the contingent action kind of comes in. You're like, I'm going to hit him, and if that requires me to chase him, I'm going to do that.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then there's these. I was actually thinking about those types too, John. But I didn't know like, do I have to declare any combat modifiers ahead of time, or can those be declared at the time
as
of
simple
combat?
as just we just want to get it's just enough so that the players who are acting faster have an idea of what your intent, like what they can see what you're doing, and they can respond and make their decision on what they're going to do.
Okay, well, I'm going to attack him unless he tries to run, in which case I will try to detain him or trip him or something.
Like chase and get him. Remember, he is faster than you. Like, we know that's going to happen. We know that whatever Deadshot's going to do, you need to sort of judge from that.
Okay, yeah, then I will chase.
Okay, if necessary to hit him.
Yeah.
Okay, then Deadshot, what are you doing this round?
So, seems like I should roll my irrational attraction to entering killing combat before I declare to see whether I'm going to start, going guns blazing or not.
5 or higher you need, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not just gonna blast away at Bronze Tiger. I think what I'm gonna do is try to. Seems like what would be fun is to do some type of like an acrobatics jump out the window or off the roof or something while shooting in the space where I was to try to provide kind of covering fire for myself.
Pretty
cool. Okay. Now, you don't actually have the acrobatic skill.
Yeah.
So it's going to be...
Well, I also have irrational attraction to dying, so if I land and break my neck, that won't be entirely out of the plan.
Can you think of... I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's, he's going to be, there's not really another way to get away from him. Let's say that there's a building right next door. so it won't be a lethal fall. It'll be a fall, so you'll suffer some, you potentially will suffer some damage, but it's not going to be a lethal thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, just leap over to the next building.
Okay. So then we're let's put it in descending. We're doing our action. So Bronze Tiger spins around like he's gonna fucking wallop you, but you're faster on the draw. You jump back. Go ahead and make your. So let's figure out what you're doing. You use weaponry for your attack is 12, and the dexterity is yes a 10. So right now you need a 9 or higher to hit him. Deadshot, do you want to spend any hero points on your AV?
Well, I'm not trying to hit him. I'm trying to shoot into kind of the area to get him to take cover instead of coming after me. That was the idea.
You're basically going to keep firing into the window so I can't get through?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think what you can do is you can give him the choice of either being attacked and going through or not subjecting himself to the attack.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
that seems, seems good.
Yeah. Just because he's got the nerves of steel and whatnot, so...
Yeah, he's not necessarily... And he's tough, so he might be able to just walk through the hail of bullets. But...
Bronze Tiger, are you leaping after him and leaving yourself open? I mean, you do know Floyd, right? And would he try and kill you?
Floyd would try and kill himself if it meant getting away. You know what? I'm going to not dive through the window.
Okay.
And see if I can spot Shade. And
well, you can't change your action.
Oh, right.
Right. So we're on. So here's let's just see how this is playing out. So what we see, Deadshot jumps back, and you guys know each other so well. Deadshot, you sort of, it's like that Matrix opening scene. You land down, you're looking at the open thing, and we see Bronze Tiger. You're, from your perspective, we can see just almost down to where the window is, and you're like, it's gonna have to be a different way to get in there. So Deadshot, that's been you still have one more dice act or non-automatic action. You want to get up?
Yeah, stand up or whatever after.
So you roll and you're up and you're keeping your eye there. Bronze Tiger, so you decided not to go after him, at least not direct.
Actually, I think so. My character was going to pummel him, but he got the jump and moved and jumped through the window and blam 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 blam.
No, he kept a shot open. He hasn't. Well, yeah, he's been blamming, so he's been shooting. So either if you go after him that way, he's going to shoot you. Okay.
I'm going to acrobatically jump through and pursue like my original plan. So in the fiction, you'd see my guy knowing that the bullets are flying, and he's going to like jump through, spinning, trying to dodge bullets.
So I don't think you didn't say you were going to avoid his shots, though. So I don't think because that's changing. That's putting your decision making
on a defensive. Right?
Yeah, that's allowing you to make the decision of how you act before he does. So I think what you're really stuck with is either you go forward with what you had planned and subject yourself to his attack, or he keeps you at bay.
Okay, then I just about to jump through and then skid and see all the bullets come flying. Fuck you, Floyd.
Love it. Okay. And then, Rack, what I can't remember what you declared. You were dodging, right?
Yes, dodging.
Okay.
Because that tiger was coming after me. Now I'm not fooled anymore.
So you can see there's a smashed window where, you're assuming, and there's guns or bullets coming out of it, so you're assuming that's where Deadshot went. And you can see, that Turner's on his back, barely avoiding all this, the side of the building's being blasted away. Okay, so that's the end of that round. No one wants to make any recovery? No? Okay. So, guys, we blew past our midway point. We're having so much fun. Why don't we take a 5-minute break right now, refresh beverages, go to the washroom and whatnot. We'll come back and we'll do the next round. How's that sound? I'll check in with chat, too. And I'll open my cards so I can actually look at them. Okay, so we'll be back momentarily, folks.
Probably has some people screaming at us, but Surprise Down is down here at this table.
All right. Let's first open our cards here so I can put all three of you guys in front.
I found the surprise stuff.
You found the which?
The surprise.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking up. That's what I was
here?
reading up before. Yeah.
It's in the chart down here.
Oh, it's the chart is...
Old.
Yeah, this is from the first edition. I wanted to find the full rules for if you ambush and how surprise works, but thank you anyway. So let me just open these up, and then I will check with chat, see how everyone is doing. Oh my, how are you guys enjoying it so far?
Blast. People in the chat seem to think so too.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Again, folks, I apologize that we weren't able to return to our regular scheduled AD&D, but just it's unfortunately one of the things.
Jeff Nelson's hilarious in chat. He says, minor irrational attraction example, Gal Gadot drunk texted me when she hit the bottle.
that would be a minor irrational attraction to Jeff. It definitely would. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, where are you guys? Let's see. That's the Justice League. There's part of the Justice League. We got Vixen in there. Let's see. Blank ones. I forgot about those.
Teen Titans are in here. This is great.
Oh yeah, like there's huge.
I love the Teen Titans comics from that era.
Yes, those are. It's George Perez and Marv Wolfman were the two that were working on Teen Titans around that time, and they
had a teenage crush on Starfire.
Nice. I think Starfire was the kind of a sexual awakening of many a teenage boy, thanks to the very voluptuous frame that George Perez drew for her. And I mean, he's not really a cheesecake artist either. If you like that, John, George Perez, the guy who did the art for it, had a seminal run on Wonder Woman around the same time too, and it's fucking beautiful. Hugely influential as well too. A lot of the modern films owe a lot to his run. Okay, so I got everybody here now. Look at this, guys. So we got Bronze Tiger and Deadshot and Shade the Changing Man. Cool. Nice. Okay, so I got your stats here, guys. Let's check my chat, folks here. Well, first off, howdy everybody, and thanks for joining us today. Game on Villain Time. You got it. Nice, Steve. Yeah, I love the system. I owned it since it came out. Probably the best hero, RPG ever. That's the thing I've heard about it, Steve. Like the fans that the Meg system have are super devoted. There's a really, really good site called DC Write-Ups that has just a ton of updated stats for not only DC characters but Marvel characters and Image characters and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. Get Deadshot. Yeah, nice. What do we got here? Tony, what's going on? Tony, this is, like I said at the outset, too, this is one of those games that was on my hit list, and I think I've run it maybe 2 times, even though, like, I read the hell out of these. I read the game to the point where my box set actually fell apart. I still have the books from my original box set, but I ended up getting a new one recently just because of that. Nice. You probably just died.
Starfire's 80s outfit kind of looks like she was shopping in the same store with Vampirella.
Totally.
Is that is that the outfit you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Jeffrey, is this system post-Hero System? Yes, it was. Hero System was out, I believe, 84, and the first box set of this is 85 or 86. And this is after the Marvel Superheroes game as well, too. That was out the year before this came out. Deadshot, one of the best assassins in the DC universe. Totally. Yep. Totally agree. Dave, DC 2E, DC Heroes is a sweet spot. Yep, I agree. I like, because there's the, box set has the DM screen and has the cards and shit like that. I like it better than the 3rd edition, which is just a book. Also, this has a lot more character write-ups in it than what the 3rd edition book has. Will's in there too. Damn Bush League DMs, exactly. JLA, JLU episodes make for some of the great comic-related viewing. Totally underside. I totally agree. Michael Ironside says Darkseid was great. Totally agree as well. George Drury's back too. Nice, George. Freaking awesome. Love it. And George also laughed about Starfire too. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Or folks. So, guys, we left off with you guys slowly whittling away through your hero points, getting closer and closer to someone landing a massive blow. One thing I'll point out as well too, remember you guys, you also have the option of doing a critical blow or a devastating attack if you really want to start landing some hits that people can't suck up. So with that in mind, guys, first off, any automatic actions? I think the only thing is your force field, and that's it. So we got Deadshot on the second floor, I guess, inside on one building. We got Bronze Tiger on the roof of the adjacent building, and we've got Rackshade flying or hovering above with his weird distorted field above him. Guys, is anyone spending hero points on initiative?
No.
Then go ahead and make your roll, guys. 1d10 plus your initiative score. Entered into turn order. 25 from Shade, 31 from Dex. Bronze Tiger, 40.
Oh, wait, I didn't add a 20.
So 37.
37, yes.
37. That's why we're suddenly
How do I get so low? I've got a minimum of 28 or 29. What the hell?
All right. So 37 for Bronze Tiger, 31 for Deadshot, 25 for Shade. All right. So then, and you guys have helpfully put yourselves in the correct order too. So Shade, you, what are you doing this round?
Maybe the slowest of the group, but I'm going to hit hard. I'm going to zoom in and try to hit Tiger.
Okay. I mean, with your movement of 20 yards or 200 yards a second, or every 4 seconds, that's...
I'm barreling through the window that Deadshot shot up and just wham!
Hit onto Tiger. Okay, well, Tiger's still on the roof as far as you know, so, but this is one of those contingent things that, you know, when it comes up, that's what you've declared. Deadshot, what are you doing?
I am going to... So, Shade's pretty tough, so I think he's probably okay if I shoot him a little bit. Well, he's got his force field and all that. He's gonna shrug off lots of hits. So I'm gonna blast at Shade with a critical blow to try to shake him up at least a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. And then do you have any other? You have 2 automatic actions. That's a dice action. Do you have any one of your automatic action, for instance, could be like I'm gonna move wherever's necessary to make my shot to get.
Yeah, I'm gonna move to make my shot. Take my shot and then try to duck down back and get stealthy again because I got my quiet shooters.
Okay. Yeah, right. I forgot about that. And then Bronze Tiger, what are you doing this round?
So do I see Shade or is he coming from the open air? But he's far away. He's like.
So you could as an automatic look around as your first
look
automatic.
Around,
Yep.
Look around and see where everybody is.
Yep.
And then
here's the benefit of what you know. So here's what you know. This is where the higher initiative is more beneficial. You know that Shade's going to come in and try and whack you. And okay. So what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking to get on the roof, there was probably one of those little shacks or whatever with the stairway going up to the little shack, and I came out the door or something. Yeah, or
sure. Well, hold on, but this is a prefab. Building, so it's really
we're not actually in a building. It's just a prefab thing. Okay, yeah. I think I'm going to try and use Shade's speed against him, and do a little ole here into the building kind of thing. So I'm going to try and just wait to the last second and then dodge out of the way.
Okay. So you're trying. Is it you're trying to just? Because if you're trying to just dodge, then your OV would just become a 20 because you're dumping your acrobatics into that. If what you're trying to do is kind of grapple him and toss him, that's a different.
Yeah, I don't just want to make him miss. I want him to hit something like part of a wall or
sure. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm just going to model that as a regular attack, and okay. Oh, you also so those of you with martial arts, you have to decide where your martial arts are going.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in my
So here's what I'll say.
value.
We'll go from lowest to highest initiative as well too. So like Rack, you have martial arts, don't you?
Yeah.
What are you putting your points?
I'm putting mine into the results table, the EV.
EV, okay. Deadshot, where's your martial arts going?
I can do RV, right? Like body.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
Then yes, that's where they're going.
Okay, so you're acting defensive, and then Bronze Tiger, where's your going?
Which one is strength?
That would be EV, effect value.
Okay. So I'm going to be okay with my dex. I think I'm going to put my into effect value as well.
Okay. So then, so you're going to wait for Shay to go in. You're going to try and attack and smash him into something. We'll just treat mechanically that as your thing. So this is, again, one of those great contingent things. So it's going to wait until Shade's turn. When Shade starts moving in, that's when you'll interrupt and do your thing.
Okay.
Okay. So you're getting yourself ready here. Deadshot. You peek out and you can see Shade is... Now, to describe for me how you think what position you're going to have to get into to take your shot.
What do you mean? Like,
because right now you're a level down from where they are, right? Because you jump down and smash through a window. If you're inside a building, one level down, and Shade is up and attacking someone on the roof, that angle's gonna be kind of tricky to get to. But you can think of if it's easier, think of it like a comic panel of what you can do as an automatic action. So if you wanted to say either climb up to the roof or just hang outside the window to try and get a better angle.
Yeah, I think kind of lean out the window. I could even, 1 foot up on the window sill, leaning all the way out to get around to the right shot.
Love it. Okay. So then your shot, your weaponry is a 12. Rack's dex is a 6. So right now you're sitting at a 5 to hit him.
Well, and I'm doing a critical blow.
Oh, right. So what is the OV modifier?
It's a +2 column shift.
+2 column shift. Okay, so right now you're sitting at a 9 or higher to hit him. And now, do you want to spend any points or any hero points on your weaponry, your AV?
I'm gonna spend 6 points in case he spends his 6 points.
Ooh. Now here's the thing: you guys can there's not. It's when both of you agree you're done spending. There's not a.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll wait for him to declare, and then if he spends any points, I'll spend some points.
Okay. So currently, Rack's spending nothing. Zilch. He's just bring it on.
All right. Well, then I will. I'll spend. I can spend 1 to get up to 13.
Yep.
And be at.
Yep. So that's a 7 or higher then.
So yeah, I will spend 1 to get up to 13 and try to get a 7 or higher.
Here we go. Come on. 13. That's 2 column shifts you got out of that. So your EV is a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your total with your? It's 7 plus 8 is 15.
15.
So it's 15 right now. You got 2 column shifts from how well you did, and how many column shifts does the critical blow do? 3.
3 more.
1, 2, 3. So you would do 2 points of damage right now. Now, Deadshot, do you want to spend any points on your EV?
I think I want to spend. Yeah, I want to spend up to really, make him hurt.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend the 3 to bump me up to 8.
Okay. Okay.
To dump all that I can in mine to 5 to mine.
What are you adding?
I'm adding the max that I can for my body to
5. Okay. Remember, your max spend is 7 because of your Miracle Vest. It can sub in, so you could spend up to 7 points if you want.
Do 5.
Do 5. Okay, so that puts you up to 20. Okay, so let's see here. 20, and then we've got versus 8. Yeah. So Arlen, you can still spend as well if you like.
Then I'm gonna spend 2 more and go up to 5.
I'll spend 2 more.
Okay, 2 more goes to 5. 2 more.
I feel like I'm watching a poker match.
Okay. Jeez. All right. So then we have a total of 5 column shifts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shade, you take 2 points of damage.
Two body.
So you could spend 2 points to do automatic recovery.
Does that happen at the end of the round, or?
No. The recovery roll this is last ditch defense. Whenever a character takes damage, whether killing damage or bashing, you may immediately spend hero points to reduce the amount of damage sustained. Each hero point spent reduces it by 1.
Yeah, I'll spend 2.
Okay. So what do we see that this otherwise would have hurt too? So in the fiction, what do we see? Deadshot and Shade.
So he's leaning out the window, popping shots at me, and it's I don't know, maybe the force field just shifting just enough that he like ricochets one bullet off the other one and just punches in deep enough to graze his forehead.
Okay. All right. Then Shade. So your action was to move in, and now we get Bronze Tiger to interrupt.
Yeah.
So Bronze Tiger, you have, let's see here, his OV is a 6. 10 versus 6 gives you a 7 or greater to succeed. You spend any hero points?
7 versus 6.
No, it's a 7 or higher. You got a 10 because your dex is 10, right?
I have it's 10. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, 10 versus his 6 is a 7. So
Okay,
that's 7 or...
that third column there. Yeah, I'm gonna spend. Can I try and do a devastating attack?
Yes, you can. So that would be +4 column shifts to the opposing. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be a 15 or higher without any points spent right now.
Okay.
I'll spend 1 point to make it a 16, so he has to go to the 18 or higher.
Okay. So well, it's not a 16. Remember, we start with your base points.
Yeah, so I'm spending 1 point.
Yeah, 1 point would put you up at 7. Okay, so that would be an 18 or higher right now to succeed on the devastating attack.
Okay, and then if I want to spend points to get it down to an 11,
then you would need to spend. Let's see here. I think you'd need to spend 6 points.
6 points to get it to that 16-18 row.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So 11 or higher. Here we go. This is a massive fucking hit. Here we go. Oh my god! Holy shit! Okay, so that
maybe it was the gunshot. Maybe it was
1,
like
2, 3. So that's 3 column shifts on top of what you already had.
Better hope this kills me.
Okay. So let's see here. Now, and you
not
subbed your EV in for 10, so it's 10 versus 15. And with devastating attack, you have 9 column shifts right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 makes it 10, 8, 9, 12 points of damage right now. Okay. Now, do you want to spend any points on your RV there, Shade?
Yeah. I'll dump all 7 that I can into it.
Okay, so that puts you at 22. And then, Dave, do you want to spend any hero points on yours?
where does that still leave me? 22 is.
So let's see here. At 9 column shifts goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still 8 points of damage. He can only absorb 5 of that.
No, I'm not going to spend anything on that.
Okay.
So knock me out.
So now, yeah, are you taking the full 8, or are you going to spend any hero points for last ditch?
I'll last ditch it.
Okay. So then you take 3 points of damage in total.
So Dave, just if you wanted, hypothetically, you could spend your couple of hero points, your 2 hero points, to up to a 12 to be at all, which means you're doing 10 damage. He can only spend. Can he spend 7 or 5?
No, he would shift down, not left.
Oh, yeah, down to 10.
But still, he would do 10 points of damage. He can only absorb 5. You've knocked him out.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So
that's what I'm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's just do that. That's
so
2 more points.
Awesome. So John, you can only you're knocked out. So what do we see, guys? As Shade goes racing in to try and take on Bronze Tiger.
I'll let Shades
going down to do a devastating attack on him. So he managed to grab me just right and head into the wall.
Yeah. So it's one of those. It's like a takedown, like a jiu-jitsu takedown, and he basically just uses all the force of Shade's body coming flying in at 200 miles an hour, and he like spins him right down and right into a wall, and you just see him KO'd.
Yeah, knocked out, and that force field around him kind of flickers, and then it's out, You know, his jacket's open and you can see his Morocco vest inside.
You see him hanging limply out of the wall because it's.
Yes. Awesome. All right,
leaving as a reaction, I can talk.
Yep.
I'm gonna shout out to Deadshot, and I'll tell him, I would offer you mercy, but I won't know you won't take it. So let's have some fun.
Jeez. Amazing. Okay, now hold on. Because you're unconscious there, Rack, let me see here. And negative RAPs count too. So, but I guess you only went... Did you have any damage at all before?
No damage, no.
Okay, you sucked up all your damage before. Okay, so give me a sec here. Because I can't remember if you can actually make a recovery and try and come to again.
Because I would be at exactly 0.
Because if you have 15... Let's see here.
I have exactly 15 HP left.
Yeah. In the comics, it seems that heroes are always able to regain consciousness in the nick of time when their lives are on the line. How many times has an unconscious Batman been thrown out of an airplane only to wake up just in time to save himself with a device from his utility belt? This is called desperation recovery. At the end of any phase of combat, each of the heroes has the option of making a desperation recovery check. Villains never use this. Although heroes may spend hero points to allow villains to recovery. So if they're dying, say. In order to make a desperation recovery check, John, I'm talking to you, the hero, John, that's you, must pay a fee of 15 hero points. Again, John, that's you.
Go down to 0. Got it.
These hero points may be paid for by the character who wants to recover, or they may be paid for by another character as long as that character who is paying is touching the character who wants to recover. Wake up, Batman! The character who is paying knows that the character who wants to recover is in trouble, and the player whose character is paying wants to spend the hero points. Okay, that last bit wasn't probably necessary. It just sucks hero points out of you. It's amazing. So the way we do it is if your recovery is less than 0, then it costs you. If your current condition is less than 0, it only costs you 1 hero point. But desperation recovery rolls under these circumstances may only increase the current condition to 0. So it's 1 point to not die. 15 points is to make your normal one. Then you make a recovery check, which is your body is both the acting value and the effect value, and the current condition is the opposing value. So, and the resisting value. So, Rack, am I correct thinking that you want to try and like bring yourself back to consciousness?
That's correct.
Excellent. I love it. So spend 15 hero points.
I like how you didn't spend more than your 15 points. You left 15 points left just in case.
Just in case.
That's awesome.
It's a smart player, ladies and gentlemen. That's a smart player who keeps those 15 points.
He does, yeah. He knew that the Kung Fu guy was going to beat the bejesus out of him. Okay, hold on here.
Well, that's kind of fluky. It's just a dice, but...
Okay, hold on. This one... Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so, Rack, let's see here. Your body is a 5, and you're against a 0. So right now you need to roll a 4 or better. 10. So you succeeded, but you got no column shifts. This is where the benefit of, what do you call it? Yeah, well, I guess you keep spending hero points just makes it easier to try and get there. 5 against 0 is a, oh, is it all? I don't think you recover all. That seems crazy. Hold on. AV, if the current condition is 0 or above, the OV in action is 0. The current condition is below 0. The OV and RV of the action is equal to the current condition below 0, okay? Current body is 0. 1 hour after physical attacks. Makes make a resting recovery roll. Oh, yeah, no, so your body's back up to a 5 now, Rack.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, well, Tiger's going to have a big surprise next turn.
So you sort of, yeah, you'll be, next round, you'll be kind of like, oh. All right. Then, guys, next round, everyone make your, is anyone first off spending points on initiative?
I guess Rack's not.
What about Deadshot or Bronze Tiger? Are you spending any points?
I'm starting to run low in case I need to bring myself back up. I think I'm not going to spend any on this.
So this one of those moments in the story where the guy shakes himself up and he's good, and then the other guy goes, "I told you to stay down."
Yeah. We'll have to see in a moment here. Automatic actions come up first, and Rack will be able to activate his force field.
Force field. Damn him. No, I'm not spending any.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead and roll 1d10, add your initiative score, and then update the turn order, please.
Always going last.
Oh, 38. Okay. All right, guys. So we're updated. So, and you guys are once again have got yourself in order. Thank you, guys. That's very kind of you. Racky, what are you doing this round?
So he's gonna start. He's gonna groan loudly and then slump out of the wall and land on his back, looking up at Tiger. Is like, "You win."
Okay, so he's gonna call Uncle. Deadshot, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna lean in out. I was already leaning out, so I'm just gonna pop up to the roof so that I can see him, and then I'm gonna try to kneecap Bronze Tiger with one of my shots.
Nice. Okay, Bronze Tiger, what are you doing?
Is there a grappling component to this game, Kev?
Yes, there is. And so what the grappling is, let's see here. Grappling attack is to grab another character. It's same as resolved as a normal physical attack. Dex and strength are AV and EV. Dex and body are OV and RV. You can substitute martial arts for that stuff. So you guys, I'm assuming we're already made your decision as to where the martial arts was going to go.
Yep.
And then if the attack earns one or more RAPs, the target and the attacker become grappled, and the defender takes damage as usual. Until the grapple is broken, both the attacker and defender can physically attack only each other. Mental and mystical attacks may still be used by anybody. Neither the attacker nor the defender can use any power that does physical damage to attack his or her opponent unless it has a range of touch. Grappled characters use their strength as their AV and OV as well as their EV while engaged in hand-to-hand combat. So that's kind of interesting. So and you can substitute martial arts for that to reflect, like, if you're trying to get the Kung Fu lock on Superman or some other super strong adversary. Unless the grappled character has APs of movement that are greater than the strength of the character with whom he's grappled, he can't move. If a character that attacks a target with whom he or she is grappled never causes knockback despite any column shifts. Oh, that's one thing I forgot too. Knockback. If you get column shifts, you fucking comic book knock back someone too. So you full on tossed shade through, like, something on the far side. To break a grapple is a dice action, and the intention to do so must be declared by either the grappled combatant during step 3 of the combat phase, which is declaring actions. And then it's a strength as AV, EV, and strength as OV, RV. And if you get any RAPs, you jerk yourself off. So strength is everything for this. Martial arts can be substituted for anything as well. So, okay. All right. So yeah, basically, like, you choke it's you trying to, like, secure the person and whatnot. So,
okay.
Well, if strength is behind it, they're equally matched, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very strong. I don't know if grappling is really what I was thinking of, like.
But again, remember, you can substitute martial arts for one of those too.
Right, but I was thinking in like, comic book terms. He, like, shakes himself too, and his shield pops up, and I'm like, oh, you want to keep going? You got a shield? Even he goes calls Uncle. I'm like, no, you're going to be my shield, or we're going to go take on Deadshot. And I was going to grab him and use him as a human shield, but
okay.
I don't know if that really works in the game terms that you just described, though. So
no, that's absolutely, like, one of the nice things about it is because, like, it's relatively easy to figure out in the game mechanics how we do this. Like, what is it you're trying to? If you want to use him as a shield, he only protects. What do you call it? You don't want to let you. Here's what I'll do: is if you get RAPs on your thing that are equal to or greater than his strength, you can interpose him. The thing with his force field is it only protects him. It's something specific about his ability. I'll let you get the benefit of his force field, which is at 8, so it'll bump up your RV by 8 against whatever Deadshot's trying to do.
Sure. I don't know exactly what Deadshot's gonna do, but he's gonna probably shoot me.
Well, you know, he just said,
right?
you can see, man, like, this is kind of the benefit of the people declaring is, you know, he's going to get up and in the fiction of is what you see out of the corner of your eye is him climbing up and getting ready. You're like, shit. And Shade's like, I give up. And you going to grab him.
Shade's like, I give up. I'm like, no, you're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're a team now.
Okay. All right. So now we're doing the actions here. So let's see here. First is Bronze Tiger.
So Bronze Tiger is going to grab Shade, and if he resists, he's going to grapple him and try and use him as a human shield.
Is Rack resisting this?
No.
He's yanked up to his feet.
He hasn't said uncle yet. He was pulling out of the wall and.
Yeah. What shit, Kuka? So.
Uncle.
Yeah. So you've got him in as a human shield now. Deadshot. He's got the benefit of this, but what are you doing, Deadshot?
Can I move too?
Well, you would have had to move over to grab him, right?
Yeah. Distance.
Move over to grab him, get him, and then
Okay, then I'll just leave it at that. That sounds good. Use him as a human shield for now.
Okay. Deadshot.
But Deadshot's got a good eye. He doesn't miss, so
yeah.
You know.
Well, and this is where, you know, I might allow, say, a trick shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like some sort of trick shot to you know,
to get around it.
So Deadshot pops up over the roof and starts shooting, and you think he's shooting like at Bronze Tiger's feet or something. You're like, what? And then assuming that it hits, it's a ricochet that's going to come up and like graze him in the leg or something like that.
That's awesome. All right, so you got a 12 for your weaponry versus his 10. So right now you're shooting. Oh, and then but he does get 2 column shifts for the OV because of the trick shot. So right now you're rolling against a 13.
Yep.
You want to spend any hero points on your attack?
I don't think I'm going to spend any hero points because I need to save some in case I go down and only got 15 left.
Okay, Bronze Tiger, you spend any points on your defense? Your OV?
What is it now? It's 12?
Currently, he needs a 13 or higher to hit you.
No, I'm going to let that go. See how it goes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Oh, no.
So it goes wild. Oh, God, and then Shade... And this is when he says uncle.
Uncle.
Oh my God. Okay. So I think that brings us to the end of the round, guys. So you currently...
I hear Shade whimpering uncle, and I'm like, oh, sorry, man.
Okay. So, guys, is anyone spending hero points on their initiative? Nope. Okay.
I'm going to spend 5. No.
Okay.
I'm like, I need to go before Deadshot because he could still...
Okay. So you got 24, 30 for Deadshot and Bronze Tiger.
Bronze Tiger's going to have, like... Yeah,
35. Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh, one sec, guys. I'll be right back.
Unwanted visitors.
Didn't you spend 5, Dave? So you're at 40, right?
No, I said I'm not going to bother.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you have better initiative than me anyway, so.
I was looking at the modifier. I'm like,
sorry,
really
guys.
not much of a range. It's 28 to 38, so I got a pretty decent chance, even if I roll low, that I'm going to...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, ascending. Here we go. All right, guys. So, Shade, you're up first. What are you doing? What are you going to do this round?
Well...
I know you've been carefully whittling down their hero points, cleverly waiting to spring that aura of fear on them again.
That's what I'm doing. I'm like, that uncle!
Nice. Sorry, my son has a pizza being delivered, so the dog is going apeshit. Okay, and are you moving at all, Rack?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'll point your Aura of Fear has a 200-yard range, and you can move that much in a round. So you could easily, if you want to stay out of range, I mean, you're still open for Deadshot shooting you, but...
I figure if Bronze Tiger still think I'm saying uncle, then he's relatively okay.
Okay. Deadshot, what are you doing this round?
All right, so I'm gonna shout at Bronze Tiger. If he tapped out, you have to let him go, and then if he drops him, I'm gonna shoot Bronze Tiger.
Awesome. And Bronze
Say that
Tiger.
again. If you what?
If he tapped out, you have to let him go.
Totally fair. Yeah.
Nice. So you can see what's going on in Rack's eyes. You got a sense of what the hell he's going to do. Bronze Tiger, you know what these two are doing. What are you doing?
I'm gonna club Rack.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't trust you anymore. The hell with this. I can feel him tensing up, and maybe his energy starts to flow, and I can feel it. I'm like, no, that's enough.
Okay, you want to hear an interesting result here? So you currently are grappling him, so you do have him because he didn't resist, so he's got the full grapple on you. However, his flight is higher than your strength, which means he could actually fly 40 feet in the air with you still grappling him, because that's what his. Well, I guess you're not. Oh fuck! You can't use your aura. Remember, you can't use powers that don't have a touch, right?
Well, it said mental and spiritual powers could still be used.
Oh, it did. Yes, you're right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, so Bronze Tiger, what are you doing? You're grappling him right now. You can choose to just do damage to him if you like.
Yeah, I'm gonna KO Shade because he needs to be out of the game so I can deal with Deadshot or get shot.
You'll lift me out of the game.
So
Deal
then,
with Deadshot or get shot by Deadshot. I don't know, either one. It might be.
so here's what we're doing. So did you? What did you substitute? Right now we're using Strength as AV, OV, and EV. What did you substitute your martial arts for?
I've been using it for effect value.
I would
Effect value. Okay. So acting value is 4, and what was yours on, John?
Resistance.
Resistance. Okay. So then, Rack's strength is a 4 as well too. So right now you got a 11 or higher to do this damage to him, Bronze Tiger. What are you spending any hero points? I'm looking at 4 versus 4 right now on the action value table.
Yeah, and I'm thinking 1 gets me to the 9, right?
1 gets you to a 9, correct?
And so then 3 gets me down to 7.
Correct.
So I'm going to spend 3.
Okay. John, do you have any?
It's flat out. So.
Okay, so you need a 7 or higher to succeed on this.
Oh.
And then
I'm waiting for one of you guys to roll doubles too.
Yep.
no, doubles is bad. That
No, doubles is
triggers
awesome. Only double
doubles
ones.
triggers my minor psychological instability.
Is it doubles or is it only double ones?
Double ones.
Okay, yeah, double ones. Yeah, no.
Yeah, other doubles just add to the roll.
Other doubles just
Okay.
explode. Okay, so 14, which is 2 column shifts. So looking at the resistance value, let's see here. You have an effect value of 10, and he's using his
Resistance.
body.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, my force field would come into play, would it?
Let's take a look here. Hold on.
I can make
Because
physical attack.
if it's against all physical damage, then yeah, it would apply against this.
Wow.
Protection from physical attacks. This counts as a physical attack, so you would have 15. So right now, let's see here. EV is 10 against 15 is an plus 2 column shifts. Right now, you're taking 2 points of damage.
Okay.
Bronze Tiger, do you want to spend any hero points on this? If you genuinely want to choke him out, you could spend 3 points. 3 hero points would be enough to. Well, actually, if you want to, yeah, you got no hero points left, right, John? Sorry, I'm sorry to keep asking. I'm not rubbing it in. 3 would take him down to 7. That would be he'd be completely choked out, and he's out of the fight then. You big meanie.
It's 10-15. Sorry, John. 3 points of being spent.
So what do we see as this kung fu thing? Sort of like what I'm picturing, and you guys can tell me if this is wrong. But is that he's actually pushing the force field in? So he's pushing it at an angle where this force field itself is kind of like no.
Yeah, he finally he started to push and then realized, oh no, this isn't working, and he changes to like a chokehold and uses the force field to like choke out Shade.
Yep. So here's the.
It goes bloop, and I drop to the ground.
his eyes roll in the back of his head.
The problem with that though is I just lost my human shield.
Yeah.
And Deadshot's standing right there with a gun. So
So
Shoot him!
Deadshot, what did you declare this round?
So I shouted at Bronze Tiger, if he tapped out, you have to let him go.
Yeah.
I
So
can't
he,
let him go.
you know, he
And
chokes
this is
him
where
up.
Bronze Tiger does like a commando line back, and it's like like what happened to Sully. I let him go, and then he goes, "I let him go." After I took him
Yes.
out.
Okay, Deadshot, what are you doing? I think you're taking your
So I'm
shot.
gonna try to shoot Bronze Tiger.
Okay,
I'm standing there by myself.
so
Smoke
12
attack.
versus 10. Right now, you're needing a 9 or higher. Are you spending any hero points?
I'm not gonna spend any hero points.
Oh,
Dave, is Bronze Tiger spending any hero points?
He's a 9 or higher.
Yep.
What would 4 hero points get me?
4 hero points would bring you to a 14, which would you only needed to actually spend 3 to get
Okay.
it to a 13 or higher.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
13
Deadshot.
or higher.
Here we go.
All right, let's go. No.
Oh shit! So you blazing away, and unfortunately, his cat terrible phrasing reflexes. Whoa! Ooh. Oh, Shade, you're just god. All right, so guys, wood. A new round. You guys, is anyone spending points on initiative?
If Dave is not going to spend, Yes, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to spend 6 points on initiative.
Okay.
gotta go first.
Dave, you want to spend any points on initiative, or you let him?
I'll spend 1.
Okay. Arlen, you want to spend any more?
I'll spend 7 points total.
Dave, we don't spend any more?
We're throwing all our eggs into one basket
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, roll, guys.
No.
35, 30. Oh, no. All right. So, update your initiative here. And, okay. So, Rack is unconscious. Deadshot, what are you doing this round?
All right, so I'm going to unclip one of my wrist things and toss it over to Bronze Tiger and say, this way it's fair. Each of us gets one, but I'm going to unclip the one I've been...
How many shots have you had?
I'm going to unclip the one I've been shooting from.
Oh, okay.
That's what... If he's paying attention, he'll notice that he's down to like 3 shots. But otherwise, we're just going to do a standoff.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can spend an action where you assume you got as many ammo as you need. You need to spend not take a dice action and reload for 1 round.
Okay, yeah, I'll visibly reload, unclip one of them, and toss him over and say, let's do a standoff, Old West style.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's what he's unhooking it. That's what he's going to be doing this route. Bronze Tiger, what are you doing?
I'm leaping from building to building if I can, and I'm going to attack him.
Yep. So Deadshot's like, well, high noon, and you see him leaping down Kung Fu style. All right, so I guess Bronze Tiger, let's do descending here. Bronze Tiger, you are up first. So you leap across. That's not an action because you're so, agile. Deadshot, where did you put your martial arts this round?
I put my martial arts into RV.
Okay, so then
because that's just what I've been doing.
Okay, so it's 10 versus 8. Right now, you need a 9 or higher to hit there, Bronze Tiger. You spend any hero points?
Nope.
Okay, Deadshot, you spend any hero points on opposing?
No hero points on this roll.
Okay, you need 9 or higher to hit there, Bronze Tiger. Holy shit! 1, 2, 3, 4 column shifts. Oh boy. Okay, so
my martial arts is in the effect value.
I figured as much. So 10 versus 6
versus my 6.
Yeah. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's doing 10 points of damage right now. So do you want to spend any hero points? You can spend up to 6 points to bump up your resistance, or you can wait and see if Dave spends any first. I mean, if Dave doesn't, you're unconscious, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend my 6 points to up my resistance.
So you're
up to 12.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, you're taking 6 points of damage. Bronze Tiger, are you spending anything on your EV?
I'm trying to figure out where we are on the chart now. So he's at resistance value of 12.
Yep. And you're at 10, and you have a 4-column shift for damage.
Okay, so we're at that 6 there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 6.
Under the 3 to 4. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So if I spend 2 points, 3 points, I put him down to the 11.
Yes, you would. Which would make it, I think.
He could still but we can go back and forth. So I'll spend 1 point to go down to
if you put him down to 11, even if he does, what do you call it? The desperation recovery, or whatever it's called. He can only spend 5 points because that's his body. So he would still take 6 damage and put him down to -1 RAP.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's 3 points, right?
Okay. So what do we see? Deadshot, you're getting ready to unhook your thing. What do we see as Bronze Tiger comes down and fucking KOs Deadshot?
Yeah, so it's like he does one of those like jumping flips in the air, and it looks like he's coming out for a kick, but then his body twists, and it's like a power punch right to the head.
Shit. Wham! So you didn't even get your thing off there. Deadshot, do you have any hero points left?
I've got a couple left, so I've got enough to spend to not die, but I'm gonna be in the negatives.
It's it's non-lethal.
Right.
Like unless he declares it's
Bronze
killing attack.
Tiger's nicer than Deadshot is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if you don't absorb it or you don't suffer, then you're at minus. Yeah. So you're like -5, completely knocked out. The only reason that matters is because do you have 15 points left?
I don't have 15 points left.
Okay, so you can't even do
So yeah, I can't come back.
Okay, so Bronze Tiger stands triumphant over our heroes. Holy shit!
How many points does he have?
How many points do I have?
Yeah.
Okay, so after.
Like, do I have to do anything to revive these guys now that we're done our
No,
contest?
because it's non-lethal. So, like, to wake him up, narratively, we'll just say that you woke him up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm at -2 after spinning everything.
And if you woke up, what you would be is, after an hour, that's when you get to make your first recovery check. So, if you guys were both at 1, you'd make your recovery check against, same thing we did before for Shade's, what is it called, Desperation Recovery.
So here's what'll happen while these guys are taking their dirt nap. I'm gonna go through each of their backpack supplies, duffel bag, whatever, and I'm going to literally go find what they brought for lunch, and I'm gonna sit down and start eating their lunch. Not all of it, but just like take a bite out of their sandwich or chicken breast or whatever, and then we'll have it all arrayed around a little table for them to wake up.
So. Rack and Floyd, you both kind of come to around the same time, and you can see Ben with his tiger mask sitting next to him, eating away, eating away your lunch.
I'm eating my lunch, but I took a bite out of theirs.
Okay. All right. So, guys,
Joke's on you. There's uncooked eggs in mine because I'm not worried about salmonella poisoning.
And my alien physiology is so different.
All right. So, guys, I want to do one more. We still got time, so we're going to do one with you guys beating the shit out of some lobies. Let's let all of you feel like badass heroes at the end here. But how does that feel like? How does that feel as far as superhero kind of combat goes?
Pretty good. Don't want to mess with Bronze Tiger.
Well, I think some of that was rolls, so a lot of that was rolls. Like I got lucky on a couple of 9s and 10s in the last couple of attacks and stuff. But I think actually I'm going to come clean. I was not too excited about playing superheroes tonight because I've never really played a superhero role-playing game, and I was like, oh man, guys in tights, this is not going to be any fun. But the game is tons of fun, and of course Arlen and John are great to play with. So
yeah. Arlen, what are you thinking? I know you're doing a deep dive lately.
Game works really well. So you can kind of tell it's of its time on some level that you have to reference the chart all the time. Yeah. Which is not it's kind of it's not a negative an inherent negative. It's just a sort of feature of the way games were designed back then versus the way they're designed now. But that's okay. It's fun, you know, and we're having a blast knocking each other. I really like the way that similar to what Marvel superheroes did, that the game lends itself to kind of inconclusive back and forth and then one big knockout hit. That to me feels really comic booky. The idea that you don't.
I'll tell you, the fight lasted a hell of a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Like it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like there was a lot of fun back and forth, and you guys maneuvering yourself, and like the way that initiative played in for the actions at a couple of points was really interesting.
I had a blast.
Well, and I like that if you spend your hero points for recovery and make your recovery roll, if you're not down very far, you can get like everything back. That feels like a good, certainly a good way to feel. If villains can't do that and heroes can, that's a great way to feel really heroic. Like, villain just knocked me out, but I'm back up for more.
The hero point thing kind of acts like your stamina. Like, you just took a blow that knocked you for a loop, but you're not out of the fight yet. So you're just using your resources and stamina down.
Well, especially after playing The Expanse recently too, where like the fortune stat kind of plays the double duty of hit points and the narrative meta currency. It's cool seeing it kind of does the same thing in this game, where you can spend it to suck up hits or to recover or to adjust your points. Like.
Well, and it's a little similar to, I've been playing a boxing dice game just solo, messing around with it, and it's kind of similar to the way that works in the sense that despite the fact that you have a health stat, in some ways your hero points are, like John said, they're sort of your kind of stamina bar almost, because once you run out of hero points, you're at the whim of the dice. Instead of being able to kind of always have a good shot at doing whatever you want to do, which is kind of an interesting, different certainly than, because Mutants and Masterminds is the game that I'm thinking of as comparison, because that's the other DC game that I'm familiar with. And hero points in there work very differently, because they're much more of like a oh, this is the perfect turn. I'm going to play my one hero point that I've been saving all session to do like a special team attack to, get the big hit off. Instead of this is much more like, regular incremental use until you run out. It's kind of an interesting design.
Well, and then these are like these characters are in comparison to like, Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman or Green Lantern or whatnot. Like these are for sure street level heroes. But I think, like, just from seeing how the thing played out and the narrative and whatnot too, and seeing you guys' reactions, it didn't feel like you're playing fucking street level characters, right? Like it felt like you're playing the stars of their own series, right? Which is cool.
I think it certainly doesn't feel like. Well, that's another thing with Mutants and Masterminds, that when you're using the D20, when you play lower than power level 10 characters, it feels really swingy.
Yep.
It's definitely built for the starting at 10 and going up.
Yeah, and that's something that I think I really what I was interested in seeing is because it you feel like fucking superheroes, right? Like you guys were all fighting each other. So we'll do a quick thing here where you can we'll have you infiltrate a building and take on a whole bunch of terrorists and or let's say drug guys. Oh boy, what do you call it? Cartel guys. What do you call it? The keeping the relative scale between yourself and adversaries, I think makes for a really make fun tic-tac. What's it say?
George Drury said that in chat.
Oh, nice, George. Yeah. Thanks. Oh, thanks, George. Yeah, George, Bronze Tiger, great character of the 80s. Totally agree. Yeah, it's a really, really cool.
One of the other things that I wanted to mention quick before we get into this other combat is you're not relegated to it. Like in a lot of games, you're relegated to what weapon you have or what skill you have in how you can attack or what things you can do. And even just looking at the combat modifiers chart, the different types of attacks a character can do without having to go through all your gear and all of your special abilities, stuff like that. That's right there is a whole schwack of different things you can do depending upon situations. So it was kind of fun to even just be looking at that and going, oh, I'd like to try this. Or if they get close enough together, maybe I can do a multi-attack or a sweep attack.
Well, and then you think this is a real good example of why like reading a game is very different from playing the game, because like when you look at the stats, I'm like, well, how the fuck is Bronze Tiger ever going to hurt Shade? He's got 15, you know, they're about comparative, about hero points, you know, so it's never going to happen. But you add in just the tempo of the combat, so you're spending hero points, that's sort of bleeding away, and then you're also adding in the fact that there's dice rolls, right? Like the unexpected 19 that you got, because you got 2 19s, didn't you, Dave, over the course of...
a couple of big rolls here in the end.
Yeah, which is cool. So it's cool that, and then Deadshot, you had at least one where there was a turfed result that could have been, you know, a real deciding, you know, factor in it.
Yeah, I had a couple times where I could have shot somebody and just, you know, the dice were not with me.
Or it's Floyd's, you know, inherent, just like, why did you could have killed Batman years ago. Why didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, he likes getting beaten up apparently. So, let's do this. Let's let me see here. I'm gonna move just the just so I've got things on the screen here. Do you guys want to fight a bunch of little guys? You guys want to fight one bigger guy?
Little guys sound fun.
Yeah, I want to feel like a god.
So are we like new scenario? We're putting our HP back up. Or
Yes.
we...
Put yourself at full hero points. Assume that you got your full points. So the way that hero points work too, they're also the currency you use to advance your character. So there's an interesting interplay between, like, do you spend it to affect your dice rolls or do you save it? And they do a similar thing for karma in Marvel Superheroes, but the numbers you need to increase your character's stuff for karma is so ridiculously high, and it's such an incremental increase that it really, like, it's not a realistic thing to think you're going to bank away that stuff and see advancement in any meaningful, or of any meaningful kind, in any amount of time. This, it does feel like that, because it's not that expensive, but it's also such an important currency that you can see why there's going to be... It does the same type of thing that experience points do in Cypher, but I like the way this works a lot better than me giving you hero points throughout this stuff that then you have to choose to keep it or spend it.
There's a very similar system in Hero Quest, the RPG, not Hero Quest, the board game that's a dungeon crawler, but Robin Law's Hero Quest has a really similar, you earn hero points at a regular rate.
Yep.
But you if you have them at the end of the session, you can spend them to upgrade your numbers, or if you use them during the session, you essentially upgrade your roll in the moment. And it works out. The math is really tightly designed on that, actually, really well, so that it feels like both choices are really viable, which I think is where one of the things that you have to do when you're going to have that trade-off, right? That,
well, it's one of the things too, like, where it's you know, the for someone who does love house ruling stuff so much, you know, I'm glad that I'm seeing this thing play out the way that it's written right now, because there are things that are surprising about this. The reverse declaration of I'm going to load it up. Oh, nice. I'm working on, so I'm
thinking more like a 5 to 10 session little mini campaign, Kev. I don't know what.
Well, it's interesting you mention that. The reason I happen to have all these guys on hand is because I got this little guy here, Operation Atlantis, and this is a pretty awesome adventure, specifically featuring the Suicide Squad. And the neat thing with this one is that the Suicide, like, if you don't want to play the same character all the time, you know what this one does is the team is split into 2. So there's 6 characters, and then 6 characters. 6 are in the first part of the adventure. 6 are in the second part of the adventure. You know, so you get a chance to try different heroes or villains are out or whatnot. So, and a lot of the pre-gens, I shouldn't say that, not all of them, but like quite a few of the ones I've read, they do that where you'll, like, change the heroes you're playing over the course of the thing. And I can see that being, like, it's fun to try out different heroes, especially when you're playing, you know, licensed characters anyway. But I also kind of dig that the idea of just seeing the campaign play out when you're, like, imagine that this was just one, you know, little combat or whatnot, but imagine if there were subplots going on. And what if the subplots involved your characters, right? Like, what if Deadshot's subplot was to escape? You know, what could have happened over the course of this scene for here when Deadshot's like, fuck it, you know, and when he's supposed to be going away, he just turns and, you know, shoots her on, you know, with a stun gun or something like that, takes out some of his guards, and they're driving off. So then Rack and Bronze Tiger get together, and then you know, when you're making your perception trying to spot something, you're like, wait a minute, why is that one driving off? Fucking Floyd! And now it becomes this thing, and because Floyd's pursuing his subplot, he also gets extra hero points at the end of the game because his subplot came up.
Nice.
And I love the idea that you guys are the ones who inform that stuff. So, and it doesn't happen it can't just be all subplots. Well, I mean, it could, but you've got your ongoing story, but the subplots is the thing that adds that fun complication that you guys drive. It's, I think, it's a gameable way of doing the thing that, like, elaborate backstories try and do in a lot of modern games.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you something actionable in the game that gives a tangible reward for that. And that, I think, is a really cool mechanic in the game.
I was thinking for Bronze Tiger's subplot. So I was looking at the wiki, and one of the wikis says that that Turner develops a relationship with Vixen.
Yes, he does.
While he's a member of the squad, and later on he ends up teaming up with Green Arrow. So I was like, maybe because of Turner's relationship with Vixen, he's thinking about maybe this isn't the life for him, and he needs to, like, turn over a good leaf so that a new leaf, that she'll be okay with it.
So let's just use this as an example here. So let's take a look at that list of the questions here, because I think it's just interesting to think about this. So the focus of the subplot is what turning over a new leaf kind of thing.
Yeah, turning over a new leaf, kind of impressing the romantic interest.
And what brings the focal issue into play? You know, so, and like an example I could think of is like maybe a team up. Maybe there's an issue where we're going to do whoever you're thinking of switching to, that character is going to play. If it's Green Arrow, maybe there's a crossover with Green Arrow that we have in our adventure.
Or maybe he's put in a spot where he's forced to make a really tough moral decision on, like, you know, taking down a bad guy or something. And if he takes the bad guy down, like, hard like the rest of the guys want him to, you know, he saves face with the Suicide Squad, but he loses a little bit of face with Vixen because he told her he's trying to, you know, change and be a new man, kind of thing. So so next question is, who else is involved in the event? Well, there'd be her and the group, right? He's got to try and impress the group and be the tough leader, but.
So the next question is, what are the characters' feelings, and does the hero know how the other characters might feel? How would Deadshot and Shade, do you think? I mean, this is maybe something that Arlen and John could weigh in on, but the fun thing is you can include everyone else in the development of the subplot, or you can have it as a secret.
So how would you guys feel if it came down to taking down the big baddie and Bronze Tiger wussed out and, you know, kind of said, oh, we'll bring him in for questioning?
Well, Shade's motivation is seeking justice, so that's probably fits within the scope of, let's bring him in rather than just straight up killing him. And Deadshot, not so much.
Deadshot, what do you think?
Deadshot, like, you toying with him or something? You know, we're gonna, you know, really, right? We're gonna interrogate him and, like, you know, really put the screws on him, right? That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Or do you just, like, take the shot that I'm not willing to take?
Or perhaps even you kind of, you know, take him down and we're all standing around and it's like that scene with a rock slide from Wednesday night.
Bam! Yeah.
Just, you know, okay, I'll finish this up. Bop.
Awesome. Next, how can the subplot be resolved? So it could be going on a new path, turning over a new leaf. It could be finding renewed interest in the Suicide Squad. You know?
Yeah. It depends on how things pan out.
What else might happen to the character as a result of the subplot?
So what if he's totally misjudging her intentions? What if she doesn't really want him to turn over a new leaf and be a better guy? What if she really is intending him to, like, step up and be the leader that the Suicide Squad needs, and he turns over this new leaf and suddenly still doesn't have the girl?
Well, here's another interesting, as a DM, like, playing off of it. Let's say like you catch, you know, Floyd's about to shoot the guy and you manage to put your hand over or, like, deflect his hand or whatever else. You take the guy hostage, but instead of taking him out and taking him hostage, this gives a chance for his adversaries to go after him, or his allies to go after him. Now you guys are faced with, you know, Floyd and Bronze Tiger don't trust each other. Shade's just trying to be like, what is wrong with these people? Like, just, of course you arrest him and whatnot. And that's when his allies come bursting into the, you know, the Suicide Squad headquarters, and you, in the midst of all this shit, you guys have to deal with him, deal with his enemies and whatnot, and then this could spring to something else, right? Like, what if the subplot for Shade is that, you know, getting back to the metazone?
Yep.
You know, and
this guy had important information on how to fix my vest, and you just ruined it.
Exactly. And then Deadshot, like, I mean, what do you have any thoughts on a subplot that could be used as an example with him? And again, you can steal from, like, comics, and one of the things that films and TV and whatnot do all the time is steal great ideas from from the comics that have not been seen on screen yet. So you could do the daughter thing again too.
I am not familiar enough with the comics to do that.
Yeah, okay.
You are, but no, but I think we could do something really interesting with Deadshot. Maybe kind of similar to Bronze Tiger. Deadshot lets the team down in letting, kind of like the panel that you showed where Deadshot just, you know, totally lets the police rip into him because he's got a death wish.
Yep.
Deadshot's sort of like, you know, the flank for the mission or something like that, and it's just like, yeah, let's start this off, let's get it going, and everybody's like, no, it's quiet mission, Deadshot, we gotta be, and bullet time, and just starts, you know, and you know, the quarry gets away or something like that, the mission goes haywire. Deadshot's like, I don't know what you guys want me to do, this is how I operate.
And that's the thing I think is potentially, it's funny because when I was reading up on the game as I was getting back and reading again, and I specifically bought Operation Atlantis because I thought it sounded like such a fucking cool premise. Like, unsurprisingly, you guys go to Atlantis. That is part of the, you know, part of the mission, which is just awesome. Like, it's one of those just wacko comic things that I love, where sure, you're going to Atlantis, and there's going to be some, you know, serious reason or serious explanation for why you're going there, but it's also in the context of this underwater city, right? And the idea that you guys also could have these cool subplot things. As I was reading, what I was reading is that the things that people were talking about were not only like the action table and the results table, and the way the APs work, and the neat way that it's very easy to improvise. It really, you know, it's easy to simulate that stuff. The thing that a lot of people brought up was this subplot thing. And to be honest, like, I'd read it before, but I never really paid that much attention because I didn't play the game all that. I mean, I ran it only 1 or 2 times. Now, even just talking to you guys, like, we've been playing for 3 hours or 4 hours right now, and it sounds like we would have some amazing subplots to handle the next month's worth of play, right? Or longer than that, plus whatever bullshit I would be coming up with for the story. So,
and we know you can pile on the bullshit, Captain.
I certainly, no joke. When you were talking about fighting the one person, I was fingering my Black Adam card. Who doesn't want to fight an angry Superman, right?
I don't.
Black Adam.
None of us do. What are you talking about?
Wait, is that Adam Warlock? Getting out of here.
Yeah. So that's
I mean, we could take him.
No.
Or if not, die trying. Right, guys?
Adam Warlock kicks Thanos' ass.
Exactly. So that's pretty awesome, you know, and like, this is only, and again, these are playing with sort of like D-lister characters, not D-list. I mean, these are nowadays, these characters are, at least Deadshot and Bronze Tiger, are more popular. Deadshot certainly more so because he's been in comics or in films and whatnot as well. Bronze Tiger's been in Arrow, and he only had a relatively short, only a handful of appearances there. But these are effectively, like, at the time these characters were in the Suicide Squad, they were D-lister. There's a reason they put them in there, is because they died regularly. You know, we had lots of characters who died, and then there was, just even with these D-listers, it sounds like you guys each kind of made a connection with the characters over the course of the play too, which is awesome. So I guess we won't do another fight, at least not today. I am prepping that Operation Atlantis. I just wanted to have more material together before I sent it out, but that's what I'd like to do. And the characters that you saw tonight, those are the characters that will be in the first mission. I'm rewriting some of the adventure to make it a little more contemporaneous, and I want to do a lead-in as well too to make it a little more cinematic and stuff like that. But if you guys are interested in playing again, I would love to run this again. This was even just watching you guys play was a shit ton of fun.
I noticed that Dr. Light and Duchess didn't make it into the list. Were they not in there?
No, because they're not in the first part of the mission.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil the adventure, but like there's a reason that you're seeing some of the less heavy firepower guys. That's the other thing that was
okay.
like the way it works out is the first part of the mission is they are in it's not just like a blunt weapon that the Suicide Squad is used for. I was trying to track it down in electronic format, but there's a terrific one shot. It's a DC special. That's a crossover between Suicide Squad and the Doom Patrol, and it's not the Doom Patrol that you in the current TV series. It's based most heavily on the Grant Morrison run that came after that thing came out. Doom Patrol was sort of an oddball collection of heroes, kind of like misfits. It has a lot of parallels to the X-Men in how they were originally presented as being like, I have nowhere else to go, but we can protect mankind, and they get on these weird adventures. Well, there's a crossover with them and the Suicide Squad, and it's the most like 80s thing because they have to infiltrate effectively like Columbia, where one superhero, Hawk and Dove, he parachuted into this place trying to do some bullshit for the American government, got arrested, and then there was front page headlines of him being arrested. So both the Doom Patrol and Suicide Squad go in to rescue him at the same time, and then while they're in the course of doing this bullshit, the Soviets send in the Rocket Red 7, or the Red Rocket Squad, which is basically, imagine like a bunch of Iron Men that come in to try and save it. So things just go completely fucking wrong. Like 50% of the characters all die, and it's Eric Larson who does the art in it too, who early in his career, who did Spider-Man for a long time in the 90s and then did Savage Dragon. It is one of the most enjoyable single read issues of all fucking time.
I wonder if any Hollywood people are watching. I'm like, take some notes, do this movie. It'll do better than Rogue One did.
It was honestly the new Suicide Squad by James Gunn. Is that looks to be very, very much in that spirit where there's a huge body count, oddball villains, total like Dirty Dozen style where people are dying and people you don't expect to die. That's the feel for that. That's not the feel necessarily of Suicide Squad. Like there was a lot more character building and intrigue and shit like that. They break into Apocalypse at one point, trying to break into Darkseid's backyard, which did not go well at all. Oh god! And my favorite thing is you were looking at Captain Boomerang there, John.
Boomerang was the other one. Yeah.
So Captain Boomerang, the awesome thing is, while he's being held, it's Belle Reve Penitentiary is where he's held in the comics. While he's being held there, he continually keeps stealing the costume and equipment for Mirror Master, another of Flash's villains, and he goes out and commits crimes as Mirror Master while he's in prison. So Flash is out there trying to find Mirror Master, and Captain Boomerang is still in prison the whole time.
Oh man,
he's such an asshole. It's great. Oh god. So anyway, so I guess that's any closing thoughts on DC Heroes, guys?
No, it seems pretty straightforward. It does feel a little bit dated, but then again, I don't have much experience with the superhero games other than the Marvel game you had me playing.
It's something that we were talking about today on the Discord too. Like the trouble is that the
champions.
You're making a decision of what you're choosing to optimize. The level of detail and the tactical decisions you're making about spending hero points and moving up and down the chart and stuff like that. That can't happen unless you have the chart.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. You can have other types of tactical decisions and stuff like that. It's sort of the type of play that this requires, with you going to your chart all the time and whatnot. Really, to be honest, the only one you need it would be your. You can figure it out yourself on the action table because it's always increments of 2 for going up and going down. So there would be a mathematical formula you could use for that. The results table, you do need to have the table because there's just no two ways about it. One of the neat things it has in the box set to speed things up, and I lost my original copy. OVRV turning thing. So you can line up the
Nice.
numbers. It's great. Arlen, any closing thoughts on DC Heroes?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to play these oddball characters. Certainly, that's always, especially I feel like, you know, for just messing around, it's always more fun to have weird, hostile to each other, you know, all sorts of problems among our. Some of us may have been shooting at each other without a lot of regard for their safety, that sort of thing. But yeah, no, it was fun. I liked this game a lot. I liked yeah, it was cool. It's kind of like John said, you can and like I mentioned, you can sort of tell that it's a product of its time with the table and the charts and the way the numbers work out, but that's not a deal breaker by any means.
No, it's pretty good.
Awesome. Dave, you got closing thoughts here?
Changed my mind about playing superhero games. This was a ton of fun. And
You got to try
it
the
was kind of-
Champions game. That was great.
it was kind of weird to be playing against Arlen and John.
Nah.
But I think once I got over that part, and you know, I saw that they're going to be hitting me and stuff, so I'm got to hit back. Yeah, I think it was fun, and like I said earlier, it's nice to have a whole bunch of options and doing stuff, and we could narratively make up what we were doing, and then just find a way to justify it in the tables. So that was kind of cool too, because it allowed us to play a pretty open narrative game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'd be different if you had a battle map and there was walls and stuff like that, but we would still just make shit up because it's a
Absolutely
Superhero game, yeah.
I love. Did you guys feel like you were more involved in establishing and kind of managing the fiction than in other games?
Yeah, the table
totally.
lends itself very well to narrative play.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like I am, you know, a remorseless describer of what happens in actions and shit like that too. I think I only did that once in the entire session. Otherwise, it was you guys filling in, right?
Well, and I think it has an interesting element of the way that you have to kind of reinterpret what was declared as the actions every time creates a really kind of fun moment to insert narration, right? Because you have to describe, okay, here's how this actually turns out because the plan didn't go quite as expected. You're going to describe the action anyway, and so you can get in there and talk about, like, you know, here's how I see this kind of ambiguous situation going down.
Yeah, so having seen characters now with almost no. And it's, I guess, another thing that I kind of like about the way that the Operation Atlantis sort of pans out is you start with characters with relatively few powers, and then you play characters who are full-on superhumans, like metahumans, with lots of crazy powers and shit like that, too. It's cool to see that characters with almost no, like, the only superpower you really had was, Shade could fly, and Shade had that force field. There's no, like, energy blast, there's no, you know, you need your thermal vision as well, too, Deadshot, but, like, a lot of the other stuff, like, there's no magnetic powers, there's no overtly stuff. It's cool to see that you guys had that much fun without having to have full-on superheroes, right? Like, so full-on superpowers for it. It was cool to see that. It would be interesting to see what, like, imagine if you guys were playing Green Lantern. Most powerful weapon in the universe.
I could not be trusted with Green Lantern's power.
Oh, man. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, then, guys, thanks, Tony. That's very kind to say. Well, and I guess, like, I'll say, you guys, thank you so much for having such a fucking great... this is the first time I think I've ever run the game actually as written, and hearing you guys talk about your potential subplots also makes me very excited to see this game in motion. I think that would just be... it would be very, very fucking cool. And you would not ever be worrying about, like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to, you know, because you would always have, if I wanted to have a slow session, we just do one whole thing about your subplot, right?
Yeah.
And it would give you guys constant engagement to be able to add to the story as you're going on, too, rather than just, like, I'm going to show up. And for a rotating cast, too, that actually might be interesting, because if we had a situation where we've had a couple of times where people show up and we don't have the people for that combat, well, then we just do a subplot,
Yeah, or they're on their subplot. We'll
Yeah,
see them
well,
later.
take a look at the list of subplots, see what I can work in for it, and we spend a session dealing with a subplot, and then whatever comes from that, which is pretty cool, right? Like, that's what comics do, right? You have your your filler issues, as they were, or your
Last episode on our journey to Atlantis, this happened, but we're going to sidetrack for here now and get back to this next week.
yeah. Because I mean, you can always do a flashback, right?
Yep.
You always have flashback episodes, and yeah, interesting, terrific. It's easily as good of a game as I could have asked for. I'm so thrilled with how this played at the table. So thank you so much, guys. All right. So then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for. Hey, Hobbs is on. Hobbs, hope you're feeling better, bud. He's had a hell of a week so far. Any XP, so the way that you calculate the XP in this is we figure out like the relative level of challenge. So let's say there's an X amount, just so you understand how, I guess, how XPs or hero points are rewarded. What we do is we figure out what the level of challenge for the adventure was, or the scene or whatnot, right? And this is probably an average challenge. And then we go through this stuff, we figure out what it is, and then that tells us what the average XP award is. And then what we do is we figure out how many of those awards you guys get. And the awards would be for things like standard awards. Oh, this is the standard award. Here we go, categories. Did you participate? So you get a standard award for that. Did you role play well? Deadshot for sure. I think each of you guys did at a different point.
The uncle thing was pretty funny.
Yeah, so you guys each get points for that. Did you save any innocent bystanders? No. Did you thwart a villain? No. Did any subplot come up? You get a standard award for that.
I think Bronze Tiger might get a point for thwarting a villain when he took me out.
Yeah, true. So yeah.
That was such a nice punch.
So let's see here. So inferior. So severity on fatal 10. Let's say like the average award is about 15. Right? That would mean that you guys got, or even 20. 20, participation is 1, role-playing is another 1, thwarting the villain, so you would get that, Bronze Tiger. That's 60 hero points that you would have got for the session.
Oh, cool. Is there like a total you roll over to start spending on, or do you spend between sessions?
Well, you can spend between sessions, but the thing is, that means you don't have any when your hero points, if you spend hero points to advance your character, you don't have them for in play.
Next session. Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I would be interested in seeing in play too. And that's the added incentive to try and see your subplots come in, right? Because that's an extra reward. Mm-hmm. And the bigger the stakes of the challenge you're going against, like if it's just this kind of stuff where you guys are training, there's some role-playing development that's going on and whatnot too, but it's not like the stakes are very low here. Probably will be about 15 for each of the things. But when you guys, thwart Darkseid from opening fire pits on Earth, that is worth way fucking more. And it's every one of those, that just goes to the standard award. And then on top of that, every time you guys, if you have a subplot come up, if you had great role playing, if you save some innocence, that's the shit that actually gives you extra, a really huge amount of XP. So it gives that, and conversely, because you're going to have that abundance of hero points, I'll bet you that's when you would be able to more easily spend them on developing your character, which means your characters would develop from significant crisis moments too.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite well put together, actually.
It's a really, I've heard it plays terrifically. Like just because it's a contemporary game, you compare this to Marvel Superheroes, and like you do get karma rewards at the end, but like they're so the amounts you're getting are so trivial in comparison to what you're getting here, and they aren't particularized in giving specific weight to specific things the way it does in this. It honestly, it reminds me of like having those specific categories and the subplots. It's almost like Blades in the Dark, where it's like you are the one who goes through your checklist and you tell me which things you've done.
The Freya Legion Mutant Year Zero games that have the list of, were you at the session, you get 1 point. Did you defeat a monster, you get another point. Did you rescue innocents, you get another, that sort of thing, where it's although I like the idea that you're weighting the questions differently depending on what happened in the session, because that's a cool way to have even more kind of weight put on the idea of like saving people in this moment is, you know, that's what really counts. That's what heroes are made of.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and it seems like a really, really good game, you know, and the increase, because what my thought was like, well, fuck, you're getting an awful lot of hero points. Like, would you not just be constantly like you go from 0 to hero way too quickly? But seeing how important spending hero points is over the course of the game too, I could see where there is that internal control mechanism, because you're sort of bleeding it off, and as players you want to have that cushion, and it's a question of the player, which is your comfortable level of cushion, you know. And the other thing, again, like comparing just this and like DC Adventures and Marvel's superheroes, the specific inclusion of subplots in this, and like you could totally adapt that to any other rules too, and giving specific rewards for it. Like there's an incentive to pursue that subplot. That, you know, when you're taking over licensed characters, it's fun to play those characters, but that gives you more ownership over the direction that character is going by allowing you guys to specifically introduce things that will reward you. And that's, I think, like that does that goes beyond just trying to parrot the character and trying to make a story with the character, if that makes sense. Right?
It's a little like what you said, I think, about having all those villains for champions, that, you know, you don't have to be facing Doctor Doom and be like, oh, this isn't really my villain. This is, you know, somebody else's villain that's showing up in my episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, no, this is, you know, our version of the story that includes the characters that we kind of know and love, but or found out about today in some cases.
Yes. Tomato.
But yeah, no, I like the game is really fun. This was a great session.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading about Bronze Tiger after I ended up with him. I'm like, okay, so I better figure out who this guy is. What's he like? Okay, the wiki up, the DC. I was like, this is kind of fun.
Well, and the neat thing, you know, I can't remember if we actually talked about this on stream or beforehand, but the neat thing, you know, taking the idea that, like the Amazing Spider-Man game, or I keep calling it Amazing Spider-Man game, the newest one from Sony, it does such a good job of having all the elements that make up a Spider-Man story, you know, and it does them in a very fresh way so that you're experiencing, I'm not going to spoil anything because I can't really explain more without spoiling shit for people, but like, there's all the villains and whatnot, and you're involved at the best part of the Spider-Man story for so much of it, that it allows you to go through kind of an origin story, but also kind of experience him as an actual seasoned hero. And that's how I want to play a licensed thing is, you know, I don't want to show up on the 38th time I faced, you know, whatever, like Hobgoblin. We were talking about Hobgoblin before too. And Hobgoblin doesn't show up in the game, so I'm not spoiling anything. But, you know, I'm not fighting for the 18th time. I'm seeing the Hobgoblin come into play and I can see over the course of my game how that character, like, I can get the animosity myself rather than through experiencing and seeing that happen rather than, you know, being told that's happening. And I feel like that's what you could do with this type of thing too. We don't need any starting point as the official canon. We just decide what parts of Bronze Tiger's backstory or Deadshot's, because like these characters, Bronze Tiger is from the 70s, right? He's part of the Kung Fu craze. So the character is 50 years old already. You know, so 50 years worth of stories that we can draw from, and you just decide what you want to be true for your version of the Bronze Tiger, and then we just fucking run with it. Same thing with Deadshot, same thing with Shay the Changing Man, right?
Well, that goes to, I think, something you talked about before we went online was the different stories that have been told about all these characters. There is no real, like, for any one character, there's certain elements that are familiar, but they've gone through so many different iterations with different writers at different eras that the characters all have this multitude of backstories. So yeah, it's like in this game we're choosing which of those multitude that we want to use.
Totally.
Which element.
Yep. And this is I'll stop talking because I'll keep fucking talking all night about it. But last thing I will say about it is that I love that you guys got attached to these characters over the course too, because it's something I love. Like, there are so many oddball heroes in comics and characters in comics that I just adore, because I've had some weird, like, Geoforce is a character I love, and he's such a cornball character. He's the leader. He's the like prince of a like, you know, comic book Eastern European nation called Markovia, and he got his powers through experimentation. He's got powers over Earth, and his costume is kind of, you know, weird looking, but I love the character. It's one of those things that, because of a couple issues I read when I was a kid, I just connected with the character and totally fell in love with the character. I feel like this, because you get to have these relatively, you know, lower tier characters, at least power level, you get a chance to explore them, make them your own, feel like badasses playing them. It allows you to go through that same experience where you get to pick your favorite C-lister, you know, and be the old Wizard Comics magazine used to have this reference called the Mort of the Month, and they would reference like some lame character from comics and whatnot. And the time that they had Geoforce in it, I'm like, he's not a Mort. What do you? Fuck you! Like. And there's a website that was started that was called Everybody is Somebody's Favorite, where they would feature these weird, you know, D-lister characters and be like, somebody somewhere loves this character. And it's neat that rather than just playing Batman or playing Superman or whatnot, you get a chance to, and that isn't this game only, I suppose, but with the subplot thing and your choice of what elements from their backstory to include, I feel like you can really make these characters your favorite, like, you know, D-lister character.
I think part of that might just be that we're amazing role players. No,
yeah, really.
Well, no, I do think that has something to do with picking the specific, like, when somebody is playing Batman, it's sort of that player's show, and the other people are showing up to play Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl and all the, you know, they get to be the sidekicks, but Batman is the star. Versus when you have Deadshot and Bronze Tiger and Rack Shade, it's sort of like, oh, we're not playing Batman's show. We're doing our own kind of weird offbeat thing.
Yeah.
As a little side note, Batman's called the Batman in the book, not just Batman. The
Batman, yeah.
The Batman.
Nice. Oh man! All right. So then, guys, let's bring it to a conclusion. I had so much fun tonight, guys. Thank you so much for a game that we decided to play a half hour before we started too. So that was pretty awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah. Excellent. So then, for those listening at home, as is always the case, let's move back to the DC Heroes thing for the outro. Boom. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game we played, or, I mean, it's not a campaign, but the characters we played, I guess, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. Alternatively, you can also reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can reach me on by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com, and you can also find a link in the description of this video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active. We have channels dedicated to everything. I expect that I'm going to be talking about DC Heroes in the near future on our Assorted Games channel, or maybe I'll create a new channel for it for superhero RPGs in general. But we have tons of other channels dedicated to every game we run on the channel, every campaign we have on the channel. There's a Find a Group channel where you can try and find people to play games with if you're having trouble doing that through your own efforts. And you are more than welcome to join us there. In addition, if you enjoyed the session, or this one-shot, I suppose, you can consider clicking on subscribe and clicking the bell icon to be notified when we go live with our games. Absent our pickup games like this, we normally post our schedule every Sunday night on the community tab of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. I also post it on Twitter, and I also post it on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. What else? In addition, there is... I don't have a link to the charity because we don't have that set up again yet. I think then all I have to do is give a huge thank you to my players who jumped in. John, Arlen, Dave. I told them earlier, like I said, half an hour before game, I said, guys, grab your capes, put on your tights, because we're taking off with some superhero action tonight. And Even though Dave was not keen on that idea, he still jumped in. That says an awful lot about some fucking great players who adapt to the circumstances. So, guys, thank you so much. I know I say this all the time, but it genuinely is a real pleasure, and it is such a treat for you guys to just roll with the punches and give us a chance to try some new stuff. So, genuinely, thank you so much, guys, for letting me finally see how this game plays after 40 years.
Yeah, I prefer the fantasy myself, but I'll take my rose-colored glasses and put them on and get to some comic stuff from my teenage years. Yes.
That's awesome. You
Bring
did
it
an
on.
awesome job with that character too.
Well,
You know,
try it.
especially like for a character who really just apart from the aura of fear thing, like it was tough. I didn't realize that he had so little chance of affecting the others and acting so late in the game, right?
He did. I just was feeling him out. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he had plans.
Well,
Next
he's
time,
also
guys.
kind of a good guy that's in the Suicide Squad a bit. So.
Yep.
A little role play there. So.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, guys, yeah, thank you so much. And for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for love it. C30.
Episode 71 of The Night Below. Oh, wait, sorry.
C says some love for Frogman. See, everyone's got their
Frogman.
D-lister they love. Fantastic.
I think mine's Squirrel Girl, I think.
Nice. That's great. So, for those listening at home, again, thank you so much for joining us for this, one shot of villains / heroes beating the bejesus out of each other. We hope you enjoyed our time through DC Heroes. And if you're listening to this contemporaneously to when this is being recorded, or you joined us live, we do hope that this finds you healthy, safe, and weathering the current crisis as well as can be expected. We hope we gave you a couple of hours of time to turn your mind off the troubles of our world and think of the troubles that these DC heroes have been getting themselves into. And until we see you again, happy gaming.